everybody doing? Is it Wednesday? It's Wednesday. It's time for some Midnight's Edge in the morning. How you doing, Andre?
I am doing good. It is indeed Wednesday, so yeah, middle of the week. We got some new trailers, we got some breaking news, and then we'll see what else pops up while we're live, because that always happens on slow news days.
Yes, we have joining us this morning a special guest, Mr. H Reviews. How are you doing?
I'm good, not too bad, not yeah, but a bit tired, but pretty good, pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you. Also joining us again is Mr. Paul Chato. How you doing?
Top of the morning to you all.
Got some coffee handy.
Yep.
That's always helpful on mornings like these when it's kind of slow moving, at least on my neck of the woods. But I'm getting there. But we had a trailer yesterday featuring all the powerful, strong women's of the MCU. I heard a rumor about another member of the MCU, and so we're going to talk about those things. And one thing that people are discussing, we could probably get this out of the way right away, is HBO Max is going to be changing its name. This is
Max?
not news. Yeah, the news we heard that they were going to change the name because for some fucking dumb reason, I don't know why, but because they're arguably the most successful of the bunch. Everybody knows what HBO means. It's a very well-known brand. It's been around since before I was born. I mean, I get it when they said, okay, we want to, it feels like we're only getting the adult audience. We have a lot of children's entertainment. We want a name that's going to be able to be inviting to all. So why not something like, Warner Brothers Max or, Warner Streaming, something to that, or Warner Discovery Streaming, because that's kind of what also they're doing is combining the Discovery aspect. Because, HBO and Cinemax, put them together, you get HBO Max. I get it. So what do? They drop the HBO part and just keep the Max. Well, all I can think about is Skinemax.
Well, they're not very good with their naming anyway, because you remember, when AT&T were running Warner Brothers, they were going to have they had it like a DC streaming platform, HBO, then HBO Max, and there was like a free version as well. It's all over the place. They just need someone just to go streamline. But why get rid of a name which you got the branding, rebranding stuff costs so much money. That's not cheap. You have to rebrand everything. Everyone knows what it is. It's like it's bureaucracy gone mad, isn't it? It's problem solving where there's no problem. There's no problem here. There's no reason to do this, but they're like,
not really. No,
need to do it. It's that's what it is. Because everyone's losing jobs. It's someone at HBO Max going, I need to keep my job. We've got to do a rebrand. It's creating a problem when there isn't one for no reason.
I just don't get it, because I said it before. I'm like, okay, you have the perfect name. Why change it? Okay, you want to change it because of the adult entertainment? Fine. So you go the opposite direction of what everybody expects you should do. What the hell are you doing here? This makes no sense. Because Max don't tell us nothing.
Well, aren't they?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And when I think of Max, I think of Cinemax, because that's the way it used to be shortened in the TV guides. So it's like you're just keeping the Max part, which is very generic outside of that, right? Because everything is already a this plus or a that Max. The South Park episode made fun of it. No.
I want to put the question to a former network executive who is also a successful businessman, running a company, knowing marketing and branding and everything like that. When you have a successful worldwide name like HBO, a brand that's been a thing, it stood for quality entertainment and streaming ever since the late 90s, or actually mid 90s, or before that even. It's like the one thing that can stand up to Netflix. Everyone instantly knows what it is around the world, and then you just skip that in favor of Max. Is this something that you would have done, Mr. Chato?
Probably not. I even thought the HBO Max was a bad thing. I thought it should just have been HBO. Now, Netflix has got a wide range of product from children's to, brothers and sisters boinking each other and shoving some child out of a large tower, almost to their death. I mean, they've got stuff close to that. And they've got some very violent. They've got very violent anime on there. How are they managing to segment it? So that's
that I think is the better thing, Paul. Is they should have, instead of asking how can we rebrand this so people don't notice, instead they should have said we need to find a way to section off these things. You've got all your Warner Brothers animation stuff that could go under one, one.
And you can't go back to like WB Max, because I mean Warner Brothers does have a very specific brand. Yeah, I would have really liked to have understood what the logic was behind it. Nate is sitting in a room with a sign that is demonstrable one of the most disastrous naming changes of all time. And do you know which one I'm referring to?
The Datsun sign?
Yes. Datsun to Nissen.
Why? I don't know. So you actually don't know the story behind that, Chato.
Oh, I do. It was a disaster.
What's the story then? What's the story?
Well, I mean, it was a very difficult.
Do you know? Then I stop. Do you know why Datsun was? Nissen was around before Datsun, right?
Yes, yes. But in the United States, they called themselves Datsun.
But do you know why they did
that? Please
remind
me. I do. I forgot. No,
right. It's not a disastrous name change then. So they actually, to protect the Nissan brand, Nissan entered the US market under Datsun, and they actually rebranded all their cars with numerical values rather than, say, a Bluebird. It became a 510. The Fair Lady was the 240Z. Right. It's actually a great example of an entry point of a business entering a brand new market. Not a disaster like you framed it. A very, very good example of how an existing brand enters a new market, catering specifically to the market.
But no, my point was the other way. When they decided to change from Datsun to Nissan in the United States, sales plummeted.
Well,
that was the point.
Or whether that was, but I don't know whether that was the case or whether that coincided with a different launch line, and also the oil crisis as well, because you have to factor that into it as well.
Sure. Well, yeah, I actually read some stuff on it, and most of the marketing books apportion the blame to the name change. So they could be wrong, but I'm just going by what I've read. But that's an Nissan. Anyway, the
Nissan is a joke as far as I'm concerned, but yeah.
And I did not know the initial history, and so thanks, Nate, on that.
If that helps at all. We don't really see them as very great cars here or anything like that.
That's a whole other. See,
right.
This is why you need people with cars on the channel, because
I understand what you're saying, but like
no. So the degradation of Nissan as a brand has long been in the works due to an infamous chap called Carlos Ghosn, who, it sounds like it's from a movie, quite literally. We're going way off topic here, but Carlos Ghosn was quite literally smuggled out of Japan
in a box.
It's all to do with Carlos Ghosn.
So it's Tetris too.
Reason. It's madness. The situation of how the brand declined is literally worth a movie. It
is. As I said, it's like Tetris too. It sounds like.
Yeah, the Datsun, the Nissan management did not enjoy.
Get on writing that right away.
Nissan management did not enjoy the Renault intrusion, but that's a different story.
And Mitsubishi as well, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah, I was.
Good morning, script doctor.
So anyways, I took it off. The point is that it is difficult to even create a brand new brand. There's something called crossing the chasm, where it takes as much effort to try to go sideways with an existing product as it is starting from scratch. Many corporations have.
True. Ask Kathleen Kennedy.
Well, corporations with history make the mistake of thinking that we will use our history and people will just follow along, and it's just not the case. That's not what the evidence shows. That if you start a new brand, you are starting from scratch. So they've got a bit of history on the Max side, but Max means nothing. I don't know what Max means.
Script Doctor, welcome to begin with. And secondarily, are you a big fan of the change from HBO Max to just Max? And what's going to happen to the HBO brand? Like, give us the industry perspective on this as a scriptwriter.
Well, I think the Max stuff is stupid because there's a lot of other, I guess, subscriber channels or pay cable access channels that have Max as part of their surname, if you will. So it's probably going to be a little bit confusing. As for the HBO brand, I think HBO is going to be fine in general, just because it's kind of an institution of itself within cable at the moment. But for the streaming side of things, I think Warner Brothers made a mistake by just not putting Warner Brothers in it, by calling it either Warner Brothers Plus or Warner Brothers Streaming or something of that nature. It goes back to the fact that they just weren't thinking ahead when they were originally doing it years ago. I think they should have separated HBO from Warner Brothers as streaming services, because for HBO, you could have marketed as it's not a streaming service, it's HBO. Just like, it's not TV,
Right.
it's HBO, and that,
Yeah.
and people would have got onto that quite quickly, I think, especially if you used it to either replace HBO Go or one of the other like mobile parts that they were doing. If you roll it all in there, I think that would have probably been a better idea. But for Warner Brothers, considering the fact that it's got 100 years history now as of this year, and it's a very well-known name on the entertainment side of things. In fact, a lot of the most popular television shows over the last 30 years have that Warner Brothers shield either at the beginning, at the end of it, because they're the ones that rolled in the money to get it produced, and then it end up on network television, whether it's ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC, etc. I think the fact that they're not leading into their history is bad, because even though they will be starting from scratch with their streaming service, you're still using the marketing of the access of your brand to kind of help. It gives you like one step up, but it doesn't guarantee success. It all comes down to, well, how much are you putting into it? How much is it going to resonate with your potential audience and market? And how much are you listening to the market to fulfill the demands that are popping up as you're exploring this new venture? And I don't think many of the streaming services have really been able to nail that. It took many years for Netflix to do that as well. So again, we're seeing it on Warner Brothers side. They've essentially restarted everything. And even with CBS, when it changed over to Paramount Plus, it took a year before they kind of got their footing again. And even then, you could probably debate that their footing's not very on solid ground yet.
No, but that was the right move, I would say, in rebranding it as Paramount Plus, because people know what Paramount's
been around for over 100 years.
Exactly. And CBS All Access, that is like the problem that they're having with HBO. At least they're claiming CBS evokes my grandma's TV. Like most people don't think about entertainment when they think of CBS. They think about the stuff their parents watch and 60 Minutes and crap like that. So like this, to me, I agree with Script 100%. If you're going to do this, especially with the 100-year anniversary, it made more sense just to call it WB Streaming or WB Plus.
What's on CBS All Access now? I thought everything's on Paramount
dead.
Plus.
No, yeah, CBS All Access is completely rebranded as Paramount Plus now.
Surely, just as a streaming platform, if your issue is a perception issue, then you just do a marketing campaign to change people's perception. Like Disney Plus, for instance, in the UK has everything, has all the adult stuff, there's Aliens on there, there's Prey on there, there's everything, because Disney Plus in the UK has to have everything folded into it. So no one in the UK alone just thinks that Disney Plus is for kids. Same as Netflix. Netflix is a multi
Right.
sort of age platform. Surely HBO Max or HBO whatever, you would just do a marketing campaign rather than an entire rebrand.
Yeah.
It seems a wasted effort, as well as you're distancing, unless they're trying to do something very, very different with it. I don't see the logic in removing any connection to an established product. Where's the logic in removing everything from any established product out there at all, just because, well, people don't think of us as that? So make them. You've now removed everything that ties you to, a legacy brand. It does seem strange, unless again they're doing something really, really different with it, which they could be. We don't know what they're going to do in the end.
Yeah, as far as I know, all they're doing is just combining Discovery and HBO Max. But we'll have to see how this turns out for them, I guess.
Well, the
Andre,
one thing that HBO and Discovery, one of their advantages is that they're actual cable channels. You don't need an app to get them. That's one of its differentiators compared to, I would imagine, Paramount Plus.
Also, they have a fairly sizable install base already, so nothing is really going to change there.
Right.
So it's a matter of
Well,
like
that
how
was the
many
thing
new
is-
people are there able to attract with a name like Max. But we
But
shall
is Max
see.
is Max going to be part of the cable mix, that they're going to get a monthly fee percentage based on being part of the cable package? So that's what HBO, that's HBO's advantage, is that people subscribe to it on their cable and they get a monthly fee from that, independent of any kind of app, or it's included part of Comcast or whatever service that they've purchased as part of some kind of bundle.
Well, I guess they would do exactly the same thing with this as they would when it was called HBO Max, because it's literally the same thing. So if they were doing that before, they'll do it after.
It needs to be pointed out, because you guys remember, I know at least Script and Andre will, when we first got into the streaming wars business, and I pointed out that there was this little streaming service that could called Discovery. And I said they should be paying attention to this. Everybody should be paying attention to this, because that was the one platform, no matter who I was talking to about streaming, everybody had to have. And that was what I noticed about when they would say it. I mean, like, what do you mean you have to have it? And they would all say the same shit. It's like, well, I got to have it so I can have it for this show or that show.
But you're talking about cable. You're not talking about streaming.
No, it was the app. The
Really?
app itself. Yes.
Okay.
And that's when I said, watch, because these are the guys that are going to surprise you. And they did. And turn around, and Warner Brothers noticed them. So they brought in Zaslav to do for them what he did for Discovery. So maybe, but I think it's a big problem losing both HBO and Discovery in this mix, because those are your two flagship things here, right? Like, but anyway, Andre, from a business point of view, again, like you just asked Script, I ask you the same question.
I think this is a really bad decision, and I think that whoever is in charge of marketing and branding over at Warner is doing a really shitty job. Because before you had like HBO Go and HBO on the Fly and all these other HBO things that did nothing but dilute the brand.
Insta HBO and
Yeah, exactly. All of that. Like, what the hell did any of it do? I'm sure it all had a purpose that they were able to
it was all
justify.
pretty much the same thing, Andre.
But really, all it was brand confusion. But then at least it was brand confusion. And now you have like HBO Max, which at the very least retains the name HBO. So then you kind of like think, oh, okay, so this is HBO, but the Max version of it. You can work with that because the Max parts adds as a modifier to HBO. I mean that's you build on the marketing that already was for HBO in building HBO Max. That's all good and well. It's not perfect. Would have been better with just straight HBO all the time, of course. But you can manage with that modifier. But now you keep the modifier Max, and you remove what you're supposed to be maxing out from the name. This is insane. The hell are they thinking?
It's like when they made New Coke, if they had to drop the Coke. Just called it new.
Exactly. Or just like vanilla instead of like vanilla Coke, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder who the hell is in charge of branding over there, and what did they do to get that job? And worse yet, how are they still having it? And I don't see this sticking. I think that inside of a year, it's going to be rebranded again. And we're going to have HBO back in the title. It just makes no sense to do
the main thing from my perspective is I've been through massive branding efforts. I was involved with, some Swiss drug companies. I mean, in a nice way. And it cost millions of dollars. So that's the one thing I don't understand is I thought Zaslav was trying to save money. And the last thing I would put some effort into it is a potentially failed branding exercise.
Exactly. Especially like when Script pointed out, they're doing the 100-year anniversary. In that 100-year anniversary, you could have resold the package to the public under the same name and just let them know that we have, Looney Tunes, Cartoon Network, Boomerang, all this other stuff underneath all this too. I think that's their bigger problem.
Well,
But
and
yeah,
also, how do you protect the word Max?
that's just it. It's like Andre said, it'd be like, and I was saying too, is like, oh, we're gonna bring up this new whatever and just keep the new part and not tell anybody what the rest of it is. It's like, that don't make no sense. The only one I could understand would be like if they just change it to Warner Brothers Discovery, because that kind of gives you a good overall,
or HBO Discovery or Warner
Something
Brothers
like that,
Centennial.
yeah.
Like really differentiate yourself a little bit from the other stuff, because right now, as it stands, Amazon, Netflix, and Disney Plus are the only ones that haven't changed their brand location for their streaming service. Everybody else is at this point.
Yeah.
Now, Disney did have a adult brand, right? What was the name of it?
They've got the Star or something, I think.
They do outside of the U.S. They have Star, yeah.
No, but even the
believe
movie
that's what Nate was
business.
talking
Oh,
about.
they had Touchstone and
Well,
Hollywood.
they used to have, and they had Miramax and Dimension back in the day, but they sold them. But that was part of the reason why I thought they were buying Fox, and they ain't done diddly with Fox. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Yeah, because I think
they bought Fox specifically for Avatar.
Maybe.
Well, it wasn't just one reason. But moving on, before we start losing panelists.
Because we've
Tom,
got some semi-breaking news here.
Yesterday, you heard some breaking news, didn't you? That you were the absolute first one to break on Midnight's Edge After Dark. And it was so breaking that we actually put the clip up on live archives before the stream was finished, which I think is something of a world record.
Yeah, again, rumor, take with a heavy grain of salt. I've only able to get this from two sources. And I'm sure that other source will eventually do their own version of the story here, so you'll probably know who they are. But yes, the rumor going around is that Jonathan Majors has been let go from the MCU. Again, take it with a grain of salt. We don't know for sure. So who wants to take the first reaction to this? I mean, not that anybody's probably really surprised, but
Mr. H, I want to hear from you first on this, because I know you are pressed for time. Are you shocked? Let's just assume for the moment, we can discuss the validity afterwards, but just assume for the moment that this reporting is accurate. Under that assumption, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I would be shocked, mainly just because it shows consistency, and Disney are never really consistent across the board. I mean, they've fired people in the past just for accusations, namely Johnny Depp, for instance, and distanced themselves permanently from him as a sort of a brand unto his own. And they're not massively consistent at all. So I would be shocked. Yeah, like, I mean, I would be shocked, just because consistency is not exactly something they're generally great at. But then everything else kind of lines up that, undoubtedly they would be in conversations with his attorney as well, right? Like, they have hundreds of millions of dollars invested.
I just have to stop you for 1 second. How are they inconsistent? Because Marvel has never had to deal with this before, but Disney, they have dealt with this once before, at least that comes to mind, and that was Johnny Depp. When accusations were leveled against him,
that's what I mean.
Him.
That's what I mean. As in,
be in no time flat.
No, you're right. I would be surprised because they're being consistent. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Yes, because they are consistent.
Yeah, and generally speaking, Jonathan Majors is of a protected class, and especially in Hollywood at this point in time. So I would be shocked because it's consistent. That's the point I'm making. Really, I'd be like, whoa, they're actually doing a thing that makes sense. If all things are proven to be true.
He evidently isn't protected enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like I was sort of saying, is I would imagine they would have, they would be in contact with his attorney, because they've got hundreds of millions of dollars invested. In terms of Phase 5 and 6,
you're billions. They don't have hundreds of millions.
They have probably
close to $1 billion, because remember, this guy, He's their new Thanos. He's going to be the recurring and linking character throughout not just Phase 5, but Phase 6 as well.
Yeah.
And for the next 2 Avengers movies are all about him.
Yeah, yeah. But so they would be in touch with his attorney, and his attorney has backpedaled on a few things. His attorney initially came out and said there is a video, then later said we hope that there's a video. It's like, well, it's not really evidence then, is it? And we already know the district attorney is pressing charges. That's confirmed. He's due in court in May. So if this is true, it lines up that there's something definitely, some sensitivity around it that they want to distance themselves from.
Yeah. Script. Assuming, again, this is rumor. We do not know that this is accurate. We have heard it from 2 sources, but it cannot be confirmed as of right now. But let's just assume that this is accurate. We have already heard, independently of this, that Marvel were discussing future options with this representative. Script. As someone having worked within this system, how do you take this news? What do you think might have happened here?
Well, I think it's very consistent for studios to have a knee-jerk reaction to bad press of this nature. It's just what they do. The other part too is, like, for me as a person who I have doubts about everything, I mean, in an ideal world, the preference would be let there be a trial, and a proper conviction or exoneration before a decision like this is made. But with studios, they can't afford that because every second has a price tag attached to it, especially when they're in a production like Marvel is, which is trying to plan 2-3 years ahead of the current date. And again, this is not going to look good for Disney for a multitude of reasons, one of which is going to be, we'll probably see in the trades soon enough, that Marvel Studios has replaced more black actors than white ones due to either controversy or what have you, because Terrence Howard was replaced by Don Cheadle, and now whoever's going to come in to replace Jonathan Spears, that makes them 2. And you'll probably try to argue, well, Harrison Ford and John Hurt, but the situation wasn't due to the fact that there's a conflict there, is that John Hurt passed away tragically, so they needed someone to come in there. And the fact that they didn't do it with T'Challa probably had to do with the fact that they didn't want that stigma of, oh, we're just keep on replacing the black actors in our Marvel movies. So there's that thing to consider. And mark my words, someone in the trade or someone in some sort of internet press circuit is going to politicize this far more than it actually is. But all I can say is I miss the days that I heard of old Hollywood when they actually did background checks on actors before they signed them to studio contracts and had people involved to straighten them out or clean them up.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because to me, this one allegation, I was never troubled by that, because that can be anything. What I thought was troubling was all the people that came out from New York, and they were basically saying, I'm paraphrasing now, but multiple people came out and said, finally, this violent, abusive sociopath is exposed. We've known
to
this
the
for
contrast
years.
of Johnny Depp.
To the contrast of Johnny Depp,
when he was accused, exactly, like everybody was coming out in his defense. I've not seen one person yet. I'm not saying it isn't out there, but I have not seen one yet in the trades coming out in defense of this man. That, I think, is a big glaring problem they have here.
Yeah,
and and again,
Chato.
Yeah, Mr. Chato, what's your feelings on
Well,
that?
my thought is that I think they must have learned something from the Johnny Depp situation. I mean, maybe I'm naive. That I would imagine that they probably dug a little bit deeper in this before, if this rumor is true. The last thing they need is an extended trial, and then at the very end find out that they've actually wrongly you've wronged a black actor of some growing stature. That would in many ways be even worse. So my thought is, if this is true, that they've done a little bit more due diligence than with with what they did with Johnny Depp, which was mostly a knee-jerk reaction. But you
I'm
also have to
very
remember.
glad you brought that up. We have a question on that regard, actually. Chris CMA1 asks for $5. We have other super chats, but this one was so pertinent and to the point. Could Disney have been leaked a copy of the video and found it damning? This would be the video that Mr. H was referring to, the one
If the lawyer
where the
actually has
lawyer
it,
said
yeah.
first, we have a video, and it exonerates him. And then later, there is a video, and it exonerates him. We hope it exists. And then no one spoke of that video ever again, which tells me there is a video. It doesn't exonerate him.
Well, the only thing that was put public were the text messages, and they didn't look particularly great. In fact, they looked textbook, abused, basically.
If anything, they supported the original reports, basically. Yeah.
Oh, what was
Yeah,
that?
massively so.
What was that bit where he called the police on her?
She passed out. See, and that was the other thing, because we had learned that he had called the police the night before, so we're like, oh, well, that kind of helps his case maybe getting ahead of it. Really, the only reason he called the police is because she passed out. That was it. So we're not even 100% sure how she passed out or what the situation was. But no, I hear you guys, and I'm all on the side of, due process, and, they should wait until the trial's over with. But I think that if this is true, and the reason I heard it yesterday, and the other individual I checked with had heard it too, was probably because there's something coming up they have to do. So that means they have to make a choice, right? And this trial could be stretched out for a while. We don't know how long it could take for this whole thing to come to a conclusion. And notice the difference, like I said earlier, between Johnny Depp in this situation. You got nobody coming out in this guy's defense. To the contrary, you got everybody coming out and saying, oh yeah, we knew all along. It's like Cosby all over again, or insert Weinstein here, or whoever.
You had a lot of influencers that were friends in Hollywood coming out against Johnny Depp. You had a lot of loudmouths.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the challenges with Johnny Depp.
Influencers, but not people who actually knew him.
They were all virtue signalers for the cause. But what I'm thinking is maybe Disney knows something that we don't.
And that's my point.
Super chat. Should they have seen a video, Mr. Chato?
Yeah, well, I don't know if about a video, but they will have done more due diligence because they didn't want to get caught in the Johnny Depp thing.
Well, like I'm saying, I'm sure, because we're getting to the point where they have to start filming one of the Avengers films or something here, to where he's coming up, to where they probably have to make a decision to either recast him or whatever they're going to do with him. And I think that's why we're hearing it. That's the only reason.
And you're going to have the meeting between some kind of Disney exec and him or his lawyer saying, look, please understand that we can't move forward with this hanging over your head. But more than likely, they're going to pay him out, as opposed to pull on some clause that says you've broached some morality clause in the contract. I'll bet you they're going to pay him out.
Oh, they'll pay him out for one movie, but they're not going to pay him out for everything he was supposed to do.
Yeah, because script, I don't know. I think they're already done shooting Loki season 2, right?
They are,
if I'm not mistaken.
That'll be so exciting.
That was filming last year.
So yeah, we're pretty sure he's probably in that, or at least has a cameo, I believe.
No. He's in every episode of Loki season 2.
Oh, lovely. See, that's what I'm saying, is they're clearly getting to a point where they had to make a decision. This could completely be false, though, too, so we have to keep that in mind. But I was really like, at first I'm like, I don't know, it's a little early for this. And then when I asked the individual, like I said, and I got I guess a second confirmation on it, or whatever you want to call it, I'm like, well, maybe there is something to it. And I could see them trying to get ahead of this whole thing, because regardless of whether or not he turns out to be innocent or not, I think the damage has been done at this point. I think that's the way they're looking at it from a business standpoint. Because like you said, Andre, they're hitched to this guy for the next few years, and they're not above recasting roles. They've done it before, and I'm sure they'll do it again. In this case, I think they looked at it as a no-win scenario to keep him around, if this is true.
Well, you say that it's a bit soon or sudden, but actually, I mean, we're only a couple of weeks away from May, and his court date is early May. So if you're, say they announce this next week, I mean, again, you're only week and a half, 2 weeks away from the court date. I mean,
I don't think they'll actually make an announcement until they recast.
Oh, I know what's gonna happen. Happens in May. If he's in court in May, that's going to drag out throughout May. You know what else happens in May? Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3.
Oh, yeah.
It would be really bad press to have him overshadow the entire premiere and everything.
Well, and
I mean,
going
if
off what
they're
Nate's
gonna-
saying, if it's true, going off that super chat we had earlier as well, that means Disney might have seen this video. Like, because his lawyer might actually have access to it, and it's shown Disney, and they had to make a decision probably. So I think you guys are on point there.
Yeah, that's kind of like what I was thinking, because what I thought was weird, like the lawyer was so dead certain about this video. When this video won the first news cycle, everyone ran with the story. There's a video, it exonerates him. This is bullshit. It'll all be over in a day or two. A day or two later, he is formally charged, not by the alleged victim, but by the prosecution, who do it on their own. And they wouldn't do that unless they had reason to think there's something here. At the same time, we never heard about this video again. Now, this is pure speculation from my side, but that tells me there is a video and it doesn't exonerate him. And his defense lawyer knows. And we already know from before, because this was widely reported, that Marvel and his attorneys, they were in talks. They were discussing future opportunities. So Marvel at this point, Marvel and Disney, they probably know much more than we, the public, do.
Of course.
Yeah, and they probably know enough that, this ain't happening.
I'll go one step further and say I think they've realized, or there's this thing going around probably in Hollywood, and this is speculation on my part, but I think he's kind of figured his poison at this point, because look how quickly Creed 3 just went away. Like, all the prestige and everything they were going off about, how much money it was making, just kind of dropped off, and it got dropped on video on demand without any real fanfare whatsoever.
I think that was
at that point.
I think the video on demand was planned. I think what wasn't planned is the complete radio silence.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you're probably right on that, Paul. Like, but that's what I mean. Like, it just kind of went away. They didn't talk about it again after this whole thing happened, even though at that point it was one of the biggest grossing films of the year. And now nobody talked about it anymore after. It got silently moved to video on demand, and that's where it's been ever since.
Well, and look at the promotion for Ant-Man Quantumania. It was John, and Ant-Man.
Yeah. There was a heavy influencing campaign to make him the next big thing. Just like what was done with a bunch of guys like 10 years ago. You have, Tom, help me with the names here.
Oh, you have everybody from your Sam Worthingtons to your Jai Courtneys to your...
And like that's Taylor Kitsch. Again, all those people. He was given this kind of like, we are trying to manufacture a star here, so buy into the hype. And that just all went away overnight, which tells me that the moment all of those other people in New York came out and said, yeah, this guy is, he was always horrible, basically.
Yeah.
The moment that happened, it all went away.
Well, that was what I was saying earlier, is I got flashes of, Cosby and Weinstein all over again when you're starting hearing say, oh, yeah, we already knew. It's like, well, that's a dead giveaway that something's not right. Kevin Spacey was another example of, as soon as things started coming out and everybody's like, oh, yeah, we all know. It's like, well, that's a problem. Like, but yeah, like, and again, I hope for his sake, he's innocent. I hope this isn't true for his sake. But at this point, things are not looking good for him, so we'll have to wait and see how it goes. But to what you just said, Nate, I don't think they're going to do any announcement at all, and I think they learned that just from the Johnny Depp situation. And we won't learn anything until they have either recast him or they've just made the decision they're going to stick with him. But I don't think we'd be hearing these rumors if that was the case, or at least they weren't considering it at this point.
Yeah.
And with that, we are regrettably losing Nate. So I just want to say thanks for hopping in, joining us today.
Oh, no, thank you for having me. Appreciate the invite, my dude. And I know you guys are going to have good fun with the next topic. So shame I couldn't stay, but you guys are going to have fun, that's for sure.
Well, I was just going to say, you gave your thoughts on it yesterday, and I'm sure you clipped that out for your channel so people can check it out there if they want to know what you feel about the Marvels trailer.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That'll be on the live stream channel. All of our all of our thoughts will be on that actually. So yeah.
So do check out Mr. H's channel and see if you want to hear what he had to say about that. And Andre and I do check in there from time to time on his live streams. And yeah, so check it out. Thank you for being here, Nate. We appreciate it.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Have a good stream. Bye-bye.
Yeah, take care.
Take care.
And before we move on
Yeah.
the topic of Jonathan Majors, because we have now, of course, discussed the rumor of him being recast, but there's a large question here, because Marvel gambled a lot on him. I mean, Disney is obviously behind this guy is the next best big thing, so getting excited because he's our Thanos replacement. He's already been in Loki. He's in every episode of Loki season 2. For all we know, there could be cameo appearances of him in both Guardians of the Galaxy and in the Marvels. But there's not going to be anything beyond that. Because, well, unless there's something in like Secret Invasion or something. But beyond that, he shouldn't be in anything. But everything they filmed right now is built up around Kang. So what do they do? Do they just recast him with another actor, saying that, oh, now we have some variants that look slightly different? Or do you pretend that it's the same guy, you just did the recasting? Or do they take the opportunity and maybe change direction a little bit, since the Multiverse Saga and Kang, if you were to judge by the receipts of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, just wasn't working the way they had hoped? What do you think, Mr. Chato?
Wow, thanks.
I know, right?
Oh boy, I would suggest they replace him with Ezra Miller, because then that's a safe choice. That's my thought.
Would you suggest that
I don't know. They're both
Jonathan
into-
Majors instantly decides to become a they them and hope that shielding will protect
Now
him?
that would completely shield him from any, including prosecution. That's not a bad plan. They're in a very difficult spot. Don Sheedy apparently is available, not just for he is the go-to black replacement.
Well, they already used.
But they already used him.
Yeah,
No,
I
but
suggest Lee Majors. Get Lee Majors to replace Jonathan Majors.
Chato is Kang. I'll
Is
do
he
it.
still alive?
Barely. So
$6 million man. He's got bionic parts. Of course he's
He
alive.
better be. He's got a warranty.
you know what? It's a no-win situation. I wouldn't have. I wouldn't know. I mean, off the top of my head, I would recast.
I think that's the only choice they have.
I don't think you have any other choice. I didn't see him in Loki, and I didn't watch Loki, and I didn't see him in the movie. How good an actor was John anyway, in your opinion?
Decent, I would say. I mean, he was very different in Loki. However, they can get away with recasting him because in that very series of Loki, they have variations of Loki that are not played by Tom Hiddleston. They've already established that you can have a variant that does not look like you.
Well, and not just that, but Kang is a variant. There's like an unlimited number of Kangs. So why not?
But they screwed themselves over in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And one of the post-credit scene is the Council of Kangs, and they all look the same.
Right.
All
That's
the
where
ones
I
that we
say
could
they'll
see in
recast.
close-up are like all the ones in the background. They could be different.
But at this point, that's why I see him just recasting and not even drawing attention to it. They won't like play some like, oh, he's different now because he's this variant. No,
Well, they dig up his
pretend
brother
it's
Kong.
the same fucking guy, just like they did with Don Cheadle.
They just do, his brother Kong.
Yeah. Kang and his brother Kong has taken over.
His brother Kong. Listen, this is not a fun situation for any.
Actually, it'd be
executive.
better off if they just get Donkey Kong.
Yeah, that's kind of a dangerous reference there.
No,
Tom.
they could be three of them: King, Kang, and Kong.
That's right.
Well, I just meant because Mario is so popular and Kong was in there. I wasn't going there.
I would suggest you go for the complete gender swap. That's what I would suggest.
I was about to say, don't give
Lizzo
them
is
ideas.
Kang.
And also on that note, Darking says, odds that they hire Dylan Mulvaney to be Kang.
He's already going to be busy playing Luna Skywalker.
Dylan is about the same girth as John's arm.
Yeah.
And John was already beaten by Ant-Man. So yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. No, I would sooner expect Dylan to show up in Star Wars, but I would not put it past Kathleen Kennedy to do that. No.
Now we know who they can recast as the Flash, though.
Yeah.
God.
Again, don't give them ideas.
You know what?
But,
Vanity has these covers about the top women of Hollywood, the top actors of Hollywood. They need one, the people who have been tossed from Hollywood cover. Some beautifully shot Annie Leibovitz cover of these people who are in big trouble. So, if parody magazines were still around like National Lampoon, I would do that. I am so sad the day of print comedy, died long time ago, like Spy Magazine and National Lampoon.
Well, it's
that was always such
that. We may have something to talk about that soon, but that's.
But anyways, yeah. That's the toughest question you could possibly ask me there, Andre. I would be in consultation with all my other fellow incompetent executives.
Yeah. Script Doctor, if Paul and his fellow merry band of fellow incompetent executives came to you and asked, what the hell do we do? We gambled everything on this guy. We paid PR firms tens of millions to make him the next big thing. We had his agent put him in Rocky in Creed and have that right next to our movie just to make sure everyone knows he's the next big thing. So get excited for everything he's in, because now he is Marvel and Marvel is him. And right now we have to let him go. What the hell do we do? What do you tell them to do, Script Doctor?
All right, so that is the long version. What they'd actually do is they just send me an email or a text that says fix this. And you know what the funny thing is that every single one of those execs is probably going to all their in-house writers and be like, how can we write ourselves out of this situation? They're probably doing like an open writing assignment saying, okay, pitch us ideas to how do we get ourselves out of this, knowing that these things are locked, they're being debuted. They'd even probably be talking to casting directors. I would not be surprised if a couple of them are trying to get Jamie Foxx to come in to replace Jonathan Majors, because he's a more reputable name, and he's already got a little bit of.
He's already Electro.
Electro.
Well, no, that's technically with Sony's stuff.
Yeah, but it's still under the MCU.
Oh, no doubts about that. But they technically already have the same problem had the same problem with Chris Evans because of Fox and Fantastic Four, and now he's also Captain America.
Yeah, but
that's a little farther removed, though. That's a lot.
It is a bit farther removed, but at the same time, Electro's character and that portrayal of that is under Sony's control, so they can use the same actor to play Kang, and no one should really care on the Disney Marvel side of things, because are they going to use that Electro again in Spider-Man in the future? Probably not.
Okay,
you're never going to use Electro again. I agree with Script.
So then we have to accept that Electro is a Kang variant that didn't discover time travel. Gotcha. Okay.
No, I agree with Script. Electro is a very minor character in one of the least watched Spider-Man movies.
Apart from Spider-Man No Way Home,
except for that, but then he had a tiny part in that. And I think that's a very innovative idea. Number one, Fox has got people really like him, and he's a good actor. He's shorter than John, but there's a lot to be said for that. You know what? I mean, the guy has got charisma. He's well known.
There's only one answer. It's Robert Downey Jr. in blackface.
There you go.
You could do that too.
Speaking of shorter, but I just wanted to bring up one other thing: is Hollywood is a city of rumors. Actually, it's one of the things that's the most fun about it, because if you get into a makeup chair and you don't have some gossip to exchange with your makeup artist, you get ostracized pretty quickly. There is a quid pro quo. So I would imagine rumors that the rumors that Tom has talked about with John has probably been floating around Hollywood for a good chunk of time. And they've kind of just bit their lip and hoped that nothing, was going to blow up. That Hollywood will have known more of this than I think anybody anticipates.
Tom and Script and Paul, I heard that it was Victoria Alonso that really pushed for Jonathan Majors, possibly in spite of rumors. Could there be something to that?
Well, she's the kind of person that I think, damn the torpedoes, I want what I want.
Well, you can hang it on her now because she's already dead meat.
And the point is, almost everybody in Hollywood has got some story, and it just depends on how badly it's going to be perceived. I mean, how many people in Hollywood has been using blow for forever? How come that's not a bigger deal? So, there's a lot of protected people in Hollywood just because they're going to be able to make money for other people. It's the way it goes. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Alonso anointed John Major as the next heir apparent at Marvel, and she didn't. Maybe people told her and said, "Look, we really got to watch this because this could blow up," and she ignored it. That's entirely possible too.
Mm-hmm.
People with power like ignoring advice.
I was gonna say, I don't think they'll straight up say I mean, they would definitely hang it up on her, and obviously that's not the reason she got fired, but they could say, like you just said, that basically she ignored the rumors and the other things that people had said about him and still hired him anyway. So they could probably spin that into a story and get that off their shoulders that way.
So I feel badly. Well, I don't feel badly for the guy if all this is true. I mean,
right.
obviously.
But I do feel bad that it's gotten to this point where he hasn't even had his day in court yet or anything like that. But then, like I said, the most damning issue he has is, unlike Johnny Depp, you had a ton of people coming to his defense, especially his ex-girlfriends and stuff like that. So when this happened for Jonathan, though, it was like radio silence on the
dead silence
support, and a bunch of people coming out and said, "Oh, we already know. Finally, somebody's saying something. Oh, well, it's about time," and shit like that. It's like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah, no, that's a problem. That's a big problem.
And that's probably what Disney noticed, right? Like, I would say, if anything, and that's where they're at this point. If they made this decision, I see it as we don't have time to wait for a trial to see if he's innocent or not. This has already blew up in our face, I think, is what they're looking at.
I think Don Cheadle started the rumor so he could get the role.
Even though he's already got playing Rhodey. He's already playing more machine. He's like, I want to do 2 roles.
Are you thinking of Terrence Howard?
No, I'm talking about Don Cheadle. Don Cheadle wants to be the go-to black actor replacement actor.
Oh, well, he's always making the MCU, like he's Rhodey.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's already been the replacement. Like I said, here's where I was joking that this is a road back for Terrence Howard now.
Yeah. Well, let's be serious. There are more than 5 black actors in Hollywood.
No, I know, but that's the joke.
There actually is. But Hollywood doesn't like to acknowledge that. They like to go with the most recognized names. I would not be surprised. Someone probably mentioned, "Hey, let's get John Boyega," and be like, "No, after Star Wars, he's not talking to us."
If he wasn't too young, I'd say he'd be a great choice. I think he's only too young.
I think he's around the same age as Jonathan Majors.
Really?
Jonathan Majors is 33.
You might be right, because everybody was pointing out how old he looks compared to how young he really is.
Yeah, he looks like he's pushing 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, from a charisma point of view, Boyega is a very good actor.
Yes.
Yeah, he could pull it off, but I don't know if he'd work for Disney again.
I mean, he could. He absolutely could pull it off. I'm sure that he's one of the people they would be thinking about for taking it over.
Actually, that's probably one of the better choices I've heard.
It is actually
seriousness.
Yeah.
Let's see what the audience is saying about all this stuff we've talked about already this morning. We're behind in these super chats. We apologize, guys.
Yeah, Six is yelling at us.
Oh, I'm sure she is.
Yeah.
Professor
But we're so glad to have Six back. I just have to say, because it's been chaos the last couple of days without her, with us missing member chats and everything like that. So we're so glad to have you back, Six.
She can't answer unless she pops in. So, or she can answer in the chat.
We call her a 6-back.
We've told her she can hop in anytime.
Someone already complained about my bad jokes and wants me to leave the channel, so I better be careful.
Well, we told them that if they want you to, they got to help get you to 100,000 subscribers.
There you go. Then I go.
Yeah, so that's the trick. Professor Haitian has been here for 24 months. Happy anniversary. That's 2 years. I believe we're going to be doing a member stream here very, 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 very soon.
Yes, we will have a membership stream inside of a week.
In fact, maybe we'll make it like a big bash because it's the 2-year anniversary deal. Says
that too.
Dropped my biggest video to date today. This is a plug for people who like comics or want to learn about Franco-Belgian comic and or quality comics. So there you go,
Yeah.
Professor Haitian. Dropped his biggest video
Franco-Belgian
today.
comics, for those that do not know, are absolutely fantastic. Among them, you will find Asterix and you will find Tintin.
Or Tintin,
To
as we
name
call it.
and Lucky Luke to name like 3 of the more famous ones.
And General Franco also is my favorite comic.
Yeah, not familiar with that one. But he did make some awesome statues. I will give him that.
Yeah, that's right.
Which the current authorities are sadly right now away and in the process of removing. Because they are being,
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of horses.
Yeah. Well, anyway, moving on.
Callum Lyle says, I decided to watch Dune. It was okay. It wasn't the best, but okay. I wish they used the song Inama Nushif from the series. I wish they had music in it, period.
You didn't like the
That's-
score?
No, I cannot stand his fucking pretentious noise.
I loved it. I enjoyed it. But I'm a synth guy.
I like synth. I love synth, but that is not music. There's no melody to it. There's nothing to it. Especially when you put it up against Toto's music for the original. Like, no, not a job.
It was fun when I saw the movie like 2 months before everyone else, and that was kind of like that. That was like Tom's first question: like, is this a proper score or just noises? And I was like, it's just noises.
It's like somebody burping into a microphone, adding a bunch of echo and slowing it down by 1,000%. That's what it sounds like to me.
I heard those soundtracks whenever I'd use the restroom at a Mexican restaurant.
Exactly.
I disagree. We can get into it. You want to get into a Dune discussion? I'm happy to get into
I
it.
love
No,
Dune.
we'll save that because there's
The
another
movie's
Dune
fine.
movie
We've already
coming.
had this discussion. It's about
Okay,
the
no, let's
music
keep
side of
going.
things. Yeah.
We even did a video about how awful the soundtrack
The
is.
soundtrack is. What soundtrack was like what I kept saying? There is no soundtrack. It's all noise.
Like the random noises.
You know how I win
yeah.
those arguments? I'd like hum me the main theme song. End of discussion. Exactly. Callum Lyle says the hippo walrus that appeared on Mando 3 No Manhood, did they roll her down to help her or did she waddle?
I'm not
Are you
mean.
talking about
A certain singer?
I was gonna say, or was there some creature I didn't see this week? Because I haven't watched Mando since the first episode of the season.
Oh, they killed off Jon Favreau's character today.
Oh, that's telling as fuck. Now I really wish we had gotten that video out this morning, Andre.
Yeah, I know.
Well, at least
But,
now we know
yeah.
how we're starting the video.
Oh, there was a Mando today, wasn't there?
Yep.
No, I didn't watch
There
it.
you go.
Yeah, by the way, 6 is pissed. Good job, guys. We're consistent at least. We're consistent
Sorry,
at least. We've gotten yelled at all the time for spoilers, and it's like it's not like we do it on purpose. It just kind of happens.
Here's the Mando recap. It's shit. Oh, spoilers!
Actually, everybody's saying this is the best episode of the season so far,
Really?
which is funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, they don't kill the Mandalorian. They don't kill Pedro Pascal's character. They kill Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau plays one of the Mandalorians among the crowd, and he dies.
Oh, I see. That's funny. How many Mandalorian episodes are there?
There's 8 this season, so the last one is next week.
So that's the last one. So I'm not watching any of them. I'm going to watch, I watched the first 2 and then I've had it. I'm going to watch the last one and then review it as another permanently helmeted character, Mr. Canoehead, who will have an affinity towards the Mandalorians who are not allowed to take off their headgear. So he's going to have a very empathetic review of the series, but just based on the first 2 and the last one, because I'm not watching any of the other ones.
Nothing happened in between so far.
Okay, so I'll find out what the last one is and just review the entire series based on the last.
I was literally watching it while I was making breakfast this morning. Like that's.
How can you concentrate?
Oh, I make pancakes, hash browns. I only have one functioning burner on my stove, so it takes me a while to cook. So I gotta get
Our
that
oven
fixed.
stopped, so we're getting a new stove after 25 years. So
Yeah, mine's about 25 years old too. I gotta get a new one.
yeah, time to go.
Yeah.
Going to Leon's.
And we got this one already. So the Walt Man says, so Warner Brothers has revealed the combined HBO Max Discovery Plus services. Max. Dramatic pause here. We should have got this material part of the show. It says also, Andre, have you heard of the White Friday incident?
No,
I'm sure I have, but it doesn't connect with the term White Friday. I have to look that up exactly what that is. Give me a second here. White Friday.
From what I can see here, it happened on the Italian front of World War I when an avalanche struck Austro-Hungarian barracks on Mount Marmolada.
Oh, okay, yeah, no,
killing 270 soldiers.
I had not heard about this. Nope, this is complete news to me. Well, of course, it happened a century
I'm not
ago,
an expert on Hungarian battles.
No, or well, this was the Italian, yeah, Austro-Hungarian barracks. Okay, yeah, no, this is news to me. Sorry. I cannot say that I have.
The Austro-Hungarian, Prussian wars and stuff, are a very interesting time in Europe. People don't realize there were wars constantly during that period as the Prussians tried to establish a more German centralized experience in Europe. There's just nonstop fighting.
What's very interesting is basically like the history of Europe with all of the infighting between the little kingdoms and city-states that come and go. And when you look at like the map of Europe, it hasn't been stable for 50 years in a row in its history.
Yep, you're absolutely right. And people have no idea the insanity that went on from, I guess, the 1600s up until the mid 1800s.
The things they do just to sell new maps.
And also the same insanity in the same time period just before that. Before that again. Basically, it's been insanity nonstop.
Man.
Yeah. Bismarck was a... We need to talk about Bismarck.
Oh, yeah, I'd love that. But right now, Super Chat.
Dr. Long Dongler sent us a thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't already.
Andre and I are starting the Bismarck channel.
Midnight's Edge history, yeah. Midnight's Edge After Dark has been a member for 24 months. I don't know who that guy is. Tipping Barnes says, we're on time. What fresh hell is this? Yeah, and we got to your super chat in like an hour after you sent it, too. Amazing.
Yeah, that's got to be some kind of record.
Cruising today. Waldo D's Nuts says, morning, gents. By the way, Tom, I have another one. Monty Python's The Life of Dave. Okay, so for those who don't know what the hell this is about and why all this Dave stuff is going on, you'll see more of that in our upcoming video. But last night, we were making fun of how obsessed Kathleen Kennedy is with Dave Filoni, because in that one interview, we lost count of how many times she mentioned Dave. And sometimes she'd mention him within like 3 sentences 3 times. You know, it's like...
Well, she introduced him to Favreau.
Yep.
She forced him upon Favreau.
Yeah, she exactly. Forced upon is more accurate. She had to install her little agent.
She probably suspected that Favreau would probably usurp her popularity within the Star Wars Disney community and said, I can't have that. I got to get Filoni in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where this Dave thing's been coming along. I can't wait till we see that video. I
love the movie Dave.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the comedy.
Kevin Kline one. Yeah. And yeah, I got Pablo working on a supercut of all the time she says Dave in that video. Pinochet's Helicopter Tour says, I'm inspired to write a new song, Leave Brie Alone. I got to write a sequel to Brie, I Can't Breathe Without You.
Breathe. Yeah. Right.
That's
I got it.
Yeah, that's an old song I did in the back in the day. Southbound 110 says, we all know they're just overthinking this streamline for when they can sell to Comcast. Yeah. Okay.
They're not selling to Comcast.
Not to Comcast, but I will agree that there is a plausibility this sucker is going to go up for sale at some point.
It will not be sold to another entertainment industry. Legally, they can't do it. There's no way.
Comcast already owns Universal, yeah.
But other billionaire companies could totally buy it to enter into the entertainment industry, and that wouldn't be an antitrust issue or a monopoly risk issue.
So we'll have to wait and see how that turns out. But I don't think that's above the realm of possibility. I just don't think Comcast is.
Well, you know, it'd be funny. AT&T buys in back.
Nah, yeah, I think they're out of the game now.
No, I think they're out, but that would be absolutely hysterical.
Matthew W says, saw Mario last night, very enjoyable. Reminded me of old school Pixar movies. Yeah, I see where you're coming from there. Waddle D's Nuts says, by the way, whenever people talk about Jonathan Majors, I keep thinking of Jonathan Winters. Now I'm just imagining him as Kang with a huge variance.
Oh, that'd be brilliant.
Hilarious.
God, I miss Jonathan Winters.
I know. He was great. Heartlander says Jon Favreau's character was killed off by sequel trilogy Snock Guard on latest episode of Mandalorian. I think Tom's right. John's out. Yeah. This came in, of course, half hour, 45 minutes ago. We just brought that up. I just saw this now, though.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, Jackson dressed up as a troll and got killed in Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
That's pretty standard fare.
Yeah,
That's
but this is
fun
not
to do.
a side
Well, this is a role
character.
that Favreau has had since the first episode
Exactly.
of Mandalorian.
He's been the fat guy in the crowd?
Yes.
Yep,
the
he's
whole time.
he's been there since day one. He's made himself a Mandalorian since day one in that.
Yeah,
in
he's
that
been
show.
that one Mando since day one.
I wonder why he would agree to allowing himself to be killed off that way. I guess.
Oh,
he just
it's
was-
kind of a heroic death, but I mean,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fun to do. As a
Yeah.
creator,
yeah.
I think we're getting ahead of our video here, though, Andre.
Yeah.
So let's,
Anyway, I'm just going to say probably he's like, well, yeah, video first, then we'll discuss it.
coming
Moving
soon to a YouTube New Year You. Check your local listings for times and shows. ActionCom says, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, not only do we intend to prove that it was possible for Favreau to shove a cowboy hat down Filoni's throat, but we have public video that shows malice and forethought of intent.
as long as it's not foreskin of a tent, we're fine.
Now, I think Script saw it. I don't know if Andre or Paul have seen it, though. The
For
video.
the show?
No. The video of Filoni when he's choking up over Star Wars fans, and you get nothing out of Favreau, not a sign of any emotion.
No.
whatsoever.
Oh,
I've
this
seen
is
that, yes.
no.
Yeah,
I have
it's
not
kinda
seen this
telling.
video, actually. No, you have to send that to me.
Yeah, he's
Again,
all
I'm
like,
sure you have it already, but send it again.
yeah, I don't think I have sent you this one, but it might be a good one for the video. I just thought. of
Are
it,
you
'cause, like,
reading too much into it? Is this one
you
of those?
could be, but at the same time, this is one of those moments where even you should fake some sort of emotion for your technically boss, I guess, because at this point, like, he just sits there, stares, doesn't smile, doesn't change expression, and Filoni is just pouring his heart out to the fans. He's just like, I'm just so happy to see all these fans here and all these faces.
I think
Star Wars.
the greatest backstabbing video is KK sitting with Lucas saying that she's going to keep the whatever it is, the
Keep
truth
his story alive, yeah.
and keep his story alive, and etc. etc. You're going, that is the greatest lie
A2
ever.
Brutus.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, that's
Speaking
what
of
did happen.
subtext,
Yep.
of course I would keep.
Yeah.
his-
Kathleen Kennedy, took a bag of silver to betray her mentor and friend.
Correct.
Pretty much. Yeah. Maybe I can find this clip here in a bit, but let's keep moving with Super Chats, Andre, in the meantime. Dark King says, odds are that they hired Dylan Mulvaney to be king. Well,
That seems to be odds-on favorite.
oh, Lord, that'd be interesting.
He is a performer.
Yeah, he's a stick bug.
Well, that's
He
the
is
thing is some
nothing
people are,
if not the performer, yeah.
that's funny that you say that, because some people are calling into question his whole
Authenticity
actual
to it.
authenticity. Yeah.
There's a great clip of him winning on The Price is Right. And he is,
God.
the thing is, he is what, you know what? He hasn't changed at all.
No, he's just grew out his hair and lost a little bit more weight and wore women's clothing.
Yep. That's right.
Well, it just is what it is. I'm not going to say anything, but it's not looking too good for Bud Light right now. That's for sure.
Or the mother, or the company, and
Nike's also
Anheuser-Busch.
struggling again.
And I don't understand why he's become the go-to trans person. I know of some incredibly attractive Men who have
I don't want to hear about your dating
transitioned.
life, Paul.
What?
I said I don't want to hear about your dating life, Paul.
Yeah, my dating life. I'm telling you, when we were performing on the same bill as the Great Imposters, they were drag queens, but the black guy was so beautiful that there was no way you would not have thought he wasn't a woman. Like, he was stunning, absolutely stunning, and he was the only one who didn't.
Can pull it off. Yeah.
Well, he was the only one who didn't lip sync. Everyone else lip synced.
Moving on to this video.
Sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, because here's the video in question, just so you guys can see it.
Okay.
I'm just looking.
I hate his cowboy hat.
Just watch Fab
I'm just like looking. I get emotional. I'm looking at all your faces and all the things you do to make this all possible. And I'm trying to like commit it to memory and just know that I see you guys and the variety of people that we have as Star Wars fans is part of what makes it so beautiful. That you come in costumes or just a T-shirt. I love how much you put into it. It means so much to me.
Not a change. Doesn't clap for him.
I don't want to.
Nothing. Not even a smile.
Because I get it. Like, I really get it. John gets it. If I wasn't sitting here, I swear to God, and people say it, and I think we all know, but I would be out there. I've been out there. I appreciate the effort you make just to be here with us. And
a nice speech.
And thank you so much for supporting the work that I've been a part of. And
anyway, it's just the body language and all that kind of stuff.
Favreau there looked kind of like Ben Affleck promoting Batman v Superman.
Isn't that what you said last night?
Yeah, that's the reminder I got.
Yeah.
Well, then we had the exact same thought independently of each other.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Ben Affleck was even better on the Academy Awards. When they cut to him, I can't remember what condition.
You sure it wasn't
was.
the Grammys?
Was it the Grammys? Where
J-Law.
Just leave me alone. Please leave me alone.
And they asked him about that in an interview later. He's like, "Yeah, I went to it. I wasn't gonna go, but then I'm like, I could have some fun. I know some of these people and shit like that." And I don't remember what he said they were talking about at that moment, but it wasn't what everybody thought it was. He was just chit-chatting or whatever. But yeah. Mario Trillo says, better for Fox brand that Disney done diddly with it than for it to be diddled by Disney. Oh, either way, I'm entertained by the dumpster fire. Well, honestly, I believe wouldn't Deadpool 3, if they carry the Fox moniker, the 20th Century moniker on it, that's the other problem. It's technically not Fox. We keep calling it Fox, and that's the problem, is they should have made Fox News change their name. But anyway, I digress. At this point, they haven't released a movie under Fox that wasn't already done before the sale. So I'm curious to see when they finally do utilize it, and Deadpool 3 might be the first time.
I think they're going to kill the Fox name.
Well, they kind of have already. They haven't really done anything with it.
It's incredible. Disney bought Fox only to shut it down.
Like I said, I'm trying to stretch to remember anything that they've had after the sale that wasn't already done.
In the can, yeah.
Yeah, and nothing that comes to mind. So, Pinochet's Helicopter Tour says, nobody deserves the Majors drama more than Disney. Well, you're not wrong there in that respect. But
drama is something they have a lot of right now. Like just
Indeed.
problems and everything falling apart everywhere, it seems. It's like every single Friday stream, we could kind of, like right now, we could call Disney's Week of Hell, because that's what every single week has been this year, more or less.
yeah. We got Tennille here who says flashes of Flashed by Cosby and Weinstein. Yeah. The shoe fits. Dearest says, very easy solution. Kang is a multiverse character, infinite Kangs. You can swap him out with anyone. The whole premise of Kang.
That's my point.
A number of them. Yeah.
They'll probably go with that. Probably.
At the same time, I'm not so sure they'll do it just so they don't want to.
They can get an orange one and call it Tang.
Tang. Pinochet's helicopter says everyone should demand Dylan Mulvaney play Kang. You know what? I would, just for the fucking train wreck of it all. It'd be hilarious.
What a brand. I mean, the guy came from nowhere and now he's huge. This is a fascinating thing that someone like him has become well known. It's a very unusual set of circumstances.
Yeah. Paulus Plain says the Jonathan Majors U.S. Army ad was considered a good ad by former U.S. Marine Jameson's Travels YouTuber. Yeah, but they pulled that campaign.
They pulled that also.
For now, anyway.
Yeah,
that was the first thing to be pulled.
Yeah, and I think that's another reason why they've, the fact that it's all caving in. So, like, I don't totally disregard the rumor. We weren't going to go with it until I had another, person to go with there, and maybe some more to go on. But we're like, well, let's just get it out there, see what happens. Maybe if you stir the pot sometimes. Yeah, and sometimes if you stir the pot a little bit, you get some answers. So, Dakaiju Gamer says one way to replace John Majors would be to change Kang to Immortus, who is the upgraded future version of Kang.
Oh, didn't we already see Immortus as like one of the Kang variants in like the post-credit scene?
I don't remember. I didn't watch it yet.
I think so.
I'm not spending the money on that movie. I'll wait for it to be on Disney Plus.
It'll be there. Isn't there? No, there's not there already, but it should be.
It's on video on demand, but it's going to be on video on demand this week. But it's not.
He's all like Immortus is already there. Already played by Majors.
Yeah. And then we've got Professor Gray here, who says, at what point do studios start doing deep background checks on new potential stars? They are losing a lot of money on this kind of thing. Well, we've discussed this in other forums before, this whole thing with Ezra and other people. I don't think they do any real background checks, but they do have morality clauses and other things in their contracts that they can easily get away from these things if they need to, right, Script?
Yeah, I mean, again, you're talking about an industry that is very impatient and at the same time doesn't like to waste time, even though they spend months, if not years, making a decision to do a go or not. Speaking of which, I've just got a decision now.
Yeah, I heard that.
But kind of kismet there. But yeah, again, you're talking about asking someone to do work in Hollywood, in an industry where there's a lot of positions where work is not really something.
Well, let me put it another way too. A lot of these people are just fine with them doing all the drugs. They're just like, pass the piss test. Like, they don't give a fuck what you do.
Well, yeah, but that's
as
the
long
point
as you
I was
pass the
making
piss
earlier.
test or pass the fucking exam or pass, whatever. Like,
there's a certain amount of craziness that's not required out of an actor, but expected out of creative people.
And that was kind of one of the things that didn't paint Johnny in a good light. We kind of saw that with where like the studios were like, yeah, we know he's doing this shit, but as long as he gets signed off on it, we don't care, right? Because it's Johnny fucking Depp, right? So there's a point where that gets to that point where they just,
and apparently they'd been putting up with the guy from Caddyshack.
Which one of them? Bill Murray?
Bill Murray. Hollywood has been putting up with Bill Murray shenanigans for a long while, apparently.
See, I seen that as more of a cancel campaign.
No. I'm just saying that if that is
I know
true,
what you're saying.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not.
He's always been a bit of a prick, but like, that's the other side of it though too. Is like they tried to cancel him, but I think a lot of that was much to do about.
Well, the movie that movie's been canceled, right? That's
the movie got canceled was the thing that happened more than anything out of the whole deal.
Anyway, I sidetracked again. Move on.
No, that's all right. Dark King says Al Jaffe of Bad Magazine fame died recently. Yeah, he got to be 102 years old.
That's right.
Wow. Guess that shows what having fun does for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Al
Gives you a reason to wake up the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah. They stuck him in a fold up, and then buried him.
He had one of the most what's the word I'm looking for? You could really tell it was his art when he was working on Mad. Prolific style was, I think, what the word I'm looking for.
Oh, Al Jaffe was fantastic.
And it was beyond Mad. He did other stuff too, beyond Mad. But it's sad to hear, but he lived a very long life. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Paul, did you ever get to meet him or have any kind
Al Jaffe? No. No, but a huge Mad Magazine subscriber and fan and a very important part of my growth to be a demented individual.
They had Mad Magazine in my public school library for us to read, which was my first encounter with it. And it was crazy because you saw these jokes that we didn't get and we had to ask the teachers what they meant. And they had no problem explaining it to us in a way that didn't destroy who we were. Like a lot of stuff was really making fun of politics and politicians, and it wasn't sex scandals or anything of that nature.
There was a point where Mad went from being more about entertainment stuff, and they really went anti-Republican, and it kind of stayed that way till the end.
Well, there was an era of Mad that ended. I mean, there's a certain period of Mad that we remember. There's actually
like
as
3
Mad.
periods, actually.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
the original period,
like...
which is where Mad wasn't anything more than just a comic book, but they called it Mad Magazine so they could get away with not having to deal with the comic code. And then they didn't do parodies so much as it was just straight stories and goofy comics. Then they switched over to starting to doing the parodies of ads and movies and stuff like that. That's the era most people remember.
Yes.
Like that's the golden era or whatever.
That was the era that
then they slipped into the fucking, and that's the era that Script's probably talking about when you were younger. Yeah, because that would have been about the time Bush came in. And that's when Mad shifted into this really hardcore anti-Republican. I mean, they still did the movie parodies and all that stuff.
They made fun of Clinton and they made fun of
They did for a while, especially after the blowjob shit. But like after, not George Sr., but George W., like if you go back and look at that's when Mad went off the bad way.
I was already out of public school by then. I'm talking like they made fun of George Bush. They made fun of Clinton and the saxophone and all his hippie stuff. What's funny is like it was right between Mad Magazine was right under the Sports Illustrated stuff. Like it was a very weird library.
Well, there was a point where Cracked got better than Mad there too for a while.
Well, when Al Jaffe left, the magazine started to look different.
Well, yeah, you didn't have his style anymore. That's for sure.
And that was for me a very big, floppy foot guy.
Yes, that's what I mean. He had a very distinctive style. You knew it was his art.
And his caricatures were genius.
I never read Mad Magazine myself, obviously, but I'm actually familiar with Al Jaffe because I do have one of his paperbacks, which I'm holding in my hand right here. Mad's Al Jaffe spews out snappy answers to
stupid questions. Yes,
I got it right here. The paperback thing from 1968. Yep. That's what I have here, the 1968 imprint. It's amazing. That I was able to get in Norway, actually.
Yeah, I've got that. It's in my library.
Yeah.
And you know what? If we're talking about comedy and not enough comedy movies and stuff like that, you need an entire universe of any specific genre to make it work. So if you're talking about the golden era of movie comedy coincided with the same time that there was National Lampoon, Spy Magazine, Mad Magazine. There was just comedy everywhere. And that's what just made it enjoyable. And no one's doing that now. No. I so much wanted to be a comic book artist in the Mad variety.
There may be some people that are doing it still. And we're going to bring that up in the future.
Yeah, well, just hold that thought. Hold that thought.
Funny enough, I wish we'd have had a meeting earlier in the week because this would have been a perfect day to launch that. But anyhow, because we've talked about it enough times. But
we need more comedy. Write script.
Oh God, yes.
That's right.
Well, we may have an alternative for people coming soon.
We're trying our best.
Paulus Plain says, please compare and contrast the Bud Light woke scandal with the rest of the entertainment news complex. Thank you, Midnight's Edge. Good news or bad news? What Bud Light is dealing with right now, they're trying to shine a positive Bud Light on Bud Light, but it's not working too well. The numbers are starting to come in.
Haven't they been under complete media silence since all of April, or have they said anything?
I don't know if this was actually. That's a good question because to be honest with you, I don't know if
it started. It's just started now. Some of the scrubbing has started.
Yeah, there was a video that went out of the CEO or whatever she
is. VP of Marketing
of Bud Light. and I don't know if it's an older video or a newer one, but she flat out, this is when I was talking
No,
about
it's
the other day.
1 month old. It's like
Yeah, okay, so
couple
where
of
she was saying we
weeks.
need to get away from it being a fratty brand and all this other kind of crap. And it's like, okay, right there is the moment where this all went off the fucking rails right here. And now we're starting to hear that there were some other people inside the company. I can't believe some of this. They were totally unaware of this. It's like, if the bitch is on the can, how the fuck can you say that? Like,
Well, she's not. That was an internal can made to
okay.
celebrate the event that got leaked out. It was never meant as an
As a brand
actual.
for the rest of their line.
But somebody still had to make it.
You know,
So-
they
Yeah.
made it. I mean, but it was never meant to get out into the wild.
Yeah, but marketing can make that. I mean, and this woman, like, I have to look up her name. It's like a German name, but I don't remember it. But anyway, this marketing VP, like,
Yeah.
fresh woman, and her ideology was, we have to evolve the brand, and evolution means diversity and inclusion, so everyone can see themselves, and we're going to do something that appeals to men and women. That's
And-
what she said in the video.
And she was responsible for the Super Bowl ad. That wasn't too horrible. It was not the Clydesdales. It was a couple dancing while they were drinking Bud. And I'm going, okay, they're going to a different market. It was not offensive. It was not woke. There was nothing about it that what you would go, oh, this is now going to head to Dylan Mulvaney territory. But clearly she was laying the groundwork for a more sensitive Bud Light.
Yeah,
But-
there was nothing wrong with that commercial.
No.
Although she later revealed that the intention behind it was a woke intention. But of course, it went completely off the rails with the Bud Light, and everything I have seen so far are people like people that just throw out their entire supply of Bud Light. They're like you have like pubs and everything that are no longer buying it. And
removing the
smart
taps from
ones-
their bars. Yeah.
Yeah, and the smart ones aren't buying anything from the corporation behind it. This is what you have to keep in mind. If you're gonna do like take an action like this, you have to do it proper. It's not enough just like, oh, I'm not going to drink this beer anymore. I'm going to drink this beer instead. If that's another thing from the same corporation, it's the same thing with with the Gillette thing. You need to drop everything Procter and Gamble, not just Gillette.
The Gillette thing was a little bit different. I mean, I am disturbed by the fact that, the mere fact that Bud gets a trans woke trans spokesperson causes an awful lot of meat eaters to get angry. I'm not entirely comfortable with that. I think the point is that that's not Bud's brand.
Well, that's part of it, right?
That's really the issue. Then there's
old-
the issue of Dylan Mulvaney being the spokesperson for Nike and Tampax, and like how did he, they, she, she's, I, do, got all these.
He's
know,
not a
all these gigs.
spokesperson. He's a wokesperson.
He's
You're right
a
in your slip.
spokesperson.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
you know what? It's oh man, this thing is filled with so many subtle and not so subtle
well,
issues.
the Dylan Mulvaney thing, not to get too deep down into the thing, and then we'll kind of sum it up here because we got to keep moving on here. Like, to me, it's kind of like it sums up a lot of this woke crap. I know you said it's not like Gillette, but I think it is. It's very much like Gillette. It's the same thing they're doing with the entertainment. It's like you're taking what's your specific core audience and you're telling them it is not for you anymore, or do better, or you're bad, or whatever.
Well,
'Cause, like,
yes,
the whole
Gillette
thing
was men are toxic. That was
exactly. And with the whole Dylan Mulvaney thing, here's the thing. She said it herself. They want somebody that appeals to both men and women. Dylan doesn't appeal to either. That's what they're learning real fucking quick.
Oh, yeah.
Is that nobody wants to see that person all the time. They're maybe as a goof here and there, but they're annoying. It has nothing to do with anything more than that. And the whole idea is like beer. Like, men don't want him or her, him, they, them. And women sure as hell don't want to look like they, them. So why the fuck Goes against all the whole advertising campaign for beer in the first place.
And I don't think it's helpful.
You put a bunch of women or a bunch of good-looking guys and whatever. They even did the same thing for women back in the 80s and 90s when they tried to gear alcoholic beverages towards women as well. And they learned that they just don't buy them as much consumption as men do. Like, that's the whole reason beer is as big as it is.
In many ways, this is bad for the trans community. And I feel bad.
It is, very much so.
That to me is, in some ways, the worst part of it. Because
I mean, you
Bud's
couldn't
not a
do
good
more
beer.
damage to the trans community if you tried.
Yes, I think she did more damage to the trans community. Yeah, and I feel badly about that.
Because that's all you're doing is you're appealing to a very, very, very subsect. And I've had friends that I've talked about before, and they say the same things. This does not appeal to me, right? They're gay, lesbian, and or trans, and they say the same things almost across the board. It's like, this does not appeal to me. I don't want to see this. It's like the point that made the most to me made sense was when they talked about the whole Disney situation. It's like, to keep making everything non-binary, then what is a trans person going to want to aspire to be? Because at that point, you're taking away exactly what they want to be. Like, they want to be that princess. If you don't have that for them to be, then you just have this muddled mess eventually. It's just going to come down the line, and nobody's going to have anything to relate to at the end of the day. Just like the same thing with the romantic comedy thing. Gay men don't want to go see fucking Bros. They want to see the Julia Roberts, George Clooney comedies. They want to see that shit. That's what they want to see. They don't want to see this kind of crap. They want to see guys like Henry Cavill.
So are you saying that Dylan Mulvaney is the opposite of James Bond, as in men don't want to be him and women don't want to be with him?
Exactly my point that I started with. It goes against all beer advertising since the beginning of fucking time. Right? And again, sometimes you can think outside the box and it can work. This is not one of those cases. Woke makes you go broke. That has been the one thing that has been consistent across the fucking board. Name me one company that has went woke and it has benefited them outside of some stupid bullshit behind the scenes because they're already an activist group. I'm talking about an established, it hurt Oreos, it's hurt M&Ms, it's hurt Gillette, it's hurt Bud Light now, it's hurt Hershey.
They got some ESG brownie points, so there's that. But with the audience, it's all bad. Which is why I like to say, with great wokeness comes great brokenness, which is something the Bud Light brand is finding out right now in this moment.
And I really don't care. I don't find Dylan that bad, right? Like, because you guys are right. Like, on a good day, I think I've seen some of their videos and they're funny in a goofy way.
It's
right?
a bit woke back mountain.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, but it's funny and goofy. Like, at the point where I wasn't sure if it was legit or not, when I thought they were just kind of goofing, some of the bits were kind of funny.
Well,
right? Like,
I just
like,
think if you're the VP of Bud Light and you've missed the mark so wide, how did you get this job?
Well, this is across the board in Hollywood now. We were just talking about this earlier with Warner Brothers. How the fuck are you going to sit there and go, Max is a good idea to call this thing? When you're going to rebrand yourself? That is so stupid. And we've seen none of these people in advertising. I'm glad I'm kind of glad I didn't get into advertising because I got booted out because I'm a white man anyway. But there was a point I almost did, and it would have went off the rails. Like, I used to look up to shit like Bud Light ads. Like, we brought them up the other day. Budweiser alone has some of the most memorable ads in history between What's Up, the Frogs, all that other kind of stuff, the Real Men of Genius. Like, I mean, how did we get to this point? Like, I just don't get it.
Yeah, I have theories. I'm not going to talk about it now.
Yeah, and Alvisa Heinerscheid is the name of the executive. I just had to look it up here. But yeah, nice.
How'd you pronounce it?
Yeah.
But we've got some stuff that's coming in flying fast, so we're going to get through these super chats so we can get to that.
We're living in fun times. What can I say?
Because Warner Brothers is doing all their announcements right now. So Maverick Christian says Jamie Foxx is already in the MCU continuity in the best MCU movie in a while. There's more than one good black actor, John David Washington. Oh, yeah, there's a few.
Well, from Tenet, he was okay in that. But yeah, you have to remind Hollywood that there's more than one good, talented black actor. Not so much us.
Yeah, and then WIFT says in the Marvels trailer, in the first scene, Monica Rambeau teleports. Shouldn't her spacesuit be teleported too? Okay, now let's talk about this real quick. Because we did talk a little bit about it on Mead last night, but we haven't heard what Paul or Andre think about the Marvels yet. So, Paul, did you watch the Marvels trailer?
Yep, several times.
Why?
I was intrigued by it.
Okay.
I actually thought it was the best, most targeted trailer I've seen out of Marvel in a long time. In the sense that now I don't know the movie. I've heard the rumors here. You know, people talked about it here that the screenings have not been good. But I looked at it and I went, and I did a video on this. It looked like Lizzie McGuire in space.
Oh, that's right. I did see that. Yeah.
And it really felt for the first time that Disney figured out something and had a complete idea. And the opening joke with Monica Rambeau, and I thought, okay, I can either look at this as complete Marvel incompetence, or this is a Lizzie McGuire gag. And if I put my Hannah Montana hat on, I go, wow, this is Saved by the Bell. Everyone's goofy. Everyone's being silly. And every single clip was them being silly. And
daytime, 4 p.m. children's programming.
Yes. And
Yeah.
and once I looked at it like that, and Khan was going, oh my God, it's my superhero friend. My favorite. I went, wow, this really felt like 4 p.m. after school classic Disney. And if that's what the movie is going to be, and it's consistent, I'm thinking that they finally figured something out.
It might not resonate with the rest of the Marvel fans, but it might hit the people that like that type of genre. I actually completely understand where you're coming from with that.
So that's my point, is that if that's what they were going for, then I thought the trailer did a really good job of doing, Charlie's Angels in space with Fury as Bosley, but a younger version of it. I thought, okay, this thing makes more sense than the Quantumania trailer. So that's my thought.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the final movie is supposed to be this, or it's supposed to be more like a real Marvel's movie with serious consequences and things like that. But if it's silly, just like this trailer, I think it's has the potential to work.
It's amazing. You are 100% wrong. I mean, nothing you've said has been right.
I think, apart from Script Doctor, I have no other supporters with this theory.
No, the thing is, I understand.
I've been waiting to use that clip.
I understand that perspective totally, because it's right up Disney's alley. How do you market to girls? They know how to market to girls. That trailer definitely is marketing to girls. It's like, yeah, I get it. That's a completely marketing to girls. I don't think it'll work with Marvel fans.
No,
but it could very much work with girls, and that's the point.
No, to be fair, I get what you're saying there.
This
will be appealing to the 10 people that watched Miss Marvel, right? You're 100% right there.
Probably.
That's the sad part, though, is this is not the Marvel we're used to, and it's not made for us, according to Brie, anyhow. I mean,
well, I loved the first Miss Marvel, first 2 episodes, and then it got into Islamism and superpowers in Pakistan. I went,
it got into the legacy of the Bengal and the characters and stuff. It didn't stay in high school, and it's the last episode, aside from the good father-daughter moment, the fight scene was absolutely atrocious.
Terrible. But
honestly, I think that was the one I checked out the fastest.
And in this short trailer, they picked up on the vibe of the very first couple of episodes of Miss Marvel with the family.
Mm-hmm.
That was all great. I loved that stuff.
No, the family is what sold that series for me, because I'm like, this is a family I recognize, I understand. Yes, they're doing the side stories by going back to their home country and all that other stuff, but the relationships are what stood out more. And it's like, oh man, this would be, to your point, Paul, that you mentioned before, this would be a way better season 2 than a season 1, because we're getting into more detailed stuff. Season 1 should be more about the balances of school and the idea of like, well, what are you going to do after high school? Which is every kid's posed that question. And we don't know at that time. The very few of us did. And they just completely dropped that in favor of this side quest. We're like, well, let's just pull her out of school for a couple of episodes.
Yes. Yeah.
Well,
She's having trouble in school. I know. We'll pull her out. That's
and
what
Paul
we'll do.
actually brought up another point that I was going to jump off of, and that is that this trailer basically proved that those leaks we heard about are accurate. So that does not bode well.
What leaks? That it's
the whole body swap and the whole damn shebang. Basically,
Well,
a lot of the
it's
stuff
position
originally,
swap. It's
or whatever you call it. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
and the way Bree played it, which I thought was really well done, where it was clearly she was in the middle of a fight that she wanted to deal with, and then suddenly she's bang here and she went, "Gah!" I thought, wow, if I'm reading into it correctly, I thought that makes perfect sense, because she's the oldest of the three, and she's going to be the most exasperated by having to deal with this.
Yeah, it's
Weird, buddy.
No, it's screwing up her
I
method
gotta
and
pick
what
that.
she views as responsibilities, because every time she's getting one step closer to achieving something, she gets yanked out by this weird swapping.
Yeah. So now why they're getting the weird swapping, what the MacGuffin is, that's going to be horrible.
Oh, absolutely. And there's also, we don't even get a premise with regards to what's the conflict aside from these three keep changing position when they use their powers. Like
Right.
that's not something you hang a movie on.
So yeah, and there's an evil version of her
There's
fighting.
an evil version of the accuser, which kind of looks like her in the trailer, but it's apparently not. It's another actor playing her, but they have the same hair. So I almost got confused that they were different, because it looked like they were fighting each other, but it's not. It's three women on one in that shot.
I remember when Hollywood would never cast an actor; they would make somebody dye their hair just because, even if it didn't matter. Just
they stopped doing that in the late 90s.
I know, and it pissed me off.
Yeah, and if they were smart, they would pull
I got time to learn people.
They would pull a trick from Toei in Japan, where each one of the girls would have a physical object that would create power. So Khan has got the rings. Each one of them should have like a half moon, a wand or something like that, as opposed to just pointing their arms and going.
Well, one does energy projection, which is Brie Larson. The other one turns into energy, which is Monica Rambeau, and the other one has force fields, like hard light.
Is that
Kamala Khan? That's the base. That's the three that I understand from the little tidbits we got of each of these characters on their own.
Wow, we need you on every show, Script Doctor, because you explain everything. Anyways, I think I saw some other people's reviews, including Nate's. I'm not necessarily diametrically opposed. It's just that I'm reading something into it that I don't think anyone else is reading into it.
But I see where you're coming from. I have to say, I think it's actually a really well put together trailer. I think it's a very good risk that the movie might not be all that. I think this is definitely a case where the trailer is better than the movie is going to end up being. But I have to give them kudos for the trailer. And we discussed this at Mr. H yesterday, and what I said then, I don't recall my exact words, but I thought like the trailer was a little bit, I don't know, manipulative in a sense, but very successful in what it does, because it's very strategic in its usage of imagery and scenes, and it just uses situational humor, a little bit of slapstick, and then it gets your heart pumping with the beat of the music, which is strategic here now with a song from the 90s.
Yes,
you will have positive
Beastie Boys
towards, which is then remixed to fit in with the trailer and to basically get your pulse pounding. I was like wondering, boy, how many months did they spend going through different trailer music before they found that perfect one? I think they must have been working on this trailer for a long time,
and they didn't use like a Madonna trailer song or something.
Yeah, this was
Beastie Boys.
It was pretty perfect. It was pretty perfect. It's like kudos. This was a really well assembled trailer,
and the girls had their own not physical problems, but they had their own, how do you call it? They weren't perfect.
They're all distinctive problems.
Yes, their own distinctive problems. And so far in the trailer, no man was made fun of or put down. And I went, wow, these are two real innovations for Disney Marvel.
But again, that's what that doesn't mean it won't happen in the movie.
I
But it
agree.
does speak to that the trailer was very well put together. But what I wonder is, how well does this trailer represent the movie? Obviously, you're going to have like this positional transportation and stuff. You can have some fun with that.
It's Freaky Friday.
Yeah,
on
exactly.
the fly.
Well, it's actually worse than that. I was like thinking, I hope that I hope that they have kind of like some SMS system or something like, yeah. I need the bathroom from the police. No one use their powers next 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Comedy with that.
that would be good. That's a good joke.
Yeah.
My biggest complaint is, how come they put the Falcon and Monica Rambeau in the worst outfits? Is it something about Marvel
like
putting
her
black characters in the worst outfits?
They don't know how to use the right color palette to complement their appearance. Monica Rambeau has a great costume from the comics. It's a white and black one, and it's really good, and it highlights her curves, and it's got some kind of like a little bit of a Storm from the Jim Lee era aspects to it, with like these loops that act like wings around her arms, but they're not connected to her arms and stuff. It's like by a wristband and whatnot. But yeah, they kind of gave her very, yes, I am gave her a very muted take on that. Like Brie Larson's and Kamala Khan's costumes are far more colorful, and they stand out more. And then hers is kind of muted in contrast.
I always thought Hawk's outfit was stupid.
It wasn't much of an outfit. It was just, military gear with a new paint coat of paint on it, essentially. Yeah. And then when they gave him the Captain America like one, it's like, oh god, that is. They didn't even give him a helmet, and Steve Rogers had a helmet. Like, they just gave him a mask and goggles.
So, did you guys see anybody else's reviews of? Well, we haven't heard Tom. What's your thought on the trailer?
Yeah, Tom, are you with us? Because I know you got some terrible news behind the scenes here, which we will get back to shortly here. But
I can't fucking think straight right now.
No, exactly. Yeah, Tom has seen another trailer, so he has bigger things to worry about than the Marvels, which he wasn't looking forward to. Anyway, but there's another trailer that we'll be talking about shortly here that is giving Tom a nervous breakdown right down this moment.
Okay. Are we done with the Marvels trailer? Because
yes, we're done with the Marvels trailer.
Dale Grimes says, read Jonathan Majors. Per law, the DA will always take over a DB case and press charges, even if the accuser recants. Yeah, we've covered some of this stuff before too. But,
and thank you, Dale, for the $20.
Yeah, thank you so much. And then we got Mikey in the house who says, Chato, you cannot leave us regardless of either great jokes or dad jokes. You are mine, Canadian mine.
You are very kind, Mexican Iron Man.
You see there, even when you pass 100, you are required to show up here.
I will do that.
Because then we need to get you to 200.
Yeah, that'll be the next goal.
Tennille says, ignoring advice and steadfastly making overbearing, ham-fisted decisions which just so happen to soothe her ego. I see Alonzo learned all the right lessons from that authoritarian regime she grew up in. Ooh.
There's another aspect to the way someone behaves in Hollywood that I learned. I got caught up in it myself. It depends on who your initial mentor is. And if your mentor is a jerk, then I've seen this many times, and maybe Script can confirm this, is that you become a jerk. Like, it's a weird thing. You start behaving and working the way your mentor worked. And if they're a swearing bastard, then you mimic it. And then you find yourself later on. But I saw that many times. Wait a second. They're just mimicking their a boss. So, did Alonzo mimic her behavior along someone else's tutelage? Who knows?
Dale Grimes then says John David Washington is another possible replacement for the role of King. That's 2 votes for him now.
I don't know him.
Pinochet's Helicopter Tour says Dune should have used Pink Floyd as a composer. Yes.
Yeah, that is what Alejandro Jodorowsky planned on
That's
doing.
correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That we
Jonas
still
J.
need that movie animated.
Yeah. Jonas J. Campbell says Paul's doing Canoe Head again. Hashtag member berries.
I will be.
Awesome.
Hey, Jonas, come on.
At least Jonas could do the narration as Morgan Freeman.
He
does a
good. He
killer
good. He's
Morgan
got
Freeman.
a very good voice.
He does Morgan Freeman very well. Paulus Plain says Midnight's Edge factoid. In real life, the armed forces of Ukraine have the Punisher patch all over the front lines. Disney are playing with fire.
Are you serious? Is that true?
I don't know. Maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised. He is very popular among military and police.
Eastern European.
You know what? Yeah, of course. Obviously, they have it because they've gotten all that stuff from America, and I don't think that the Ukrainians put the Punisher thing on. I think it was already there from America where it came from.
Wouldn't that blow the woke's mind, though? Anyway, Truck Driving Gamer says Marvel would do better to move another big bad. Galactus, Mephisto, Nightmare, the Celestials, or best of all, Doctor Doom. Are they smart enough? I think they're planning on Doctor Doom eventually, but yeah, at this point.
But this is a play on what I asked, or like a kind of like what I asked earlier. Will they just recast and continue what they were planning on anyway, even though it wasn't working, or take this opportunity to rethink their plans? And if they were to do that, yeah, you could add a nihilist to that list. But yeah, no, it doesn't. We don't know yet. Like, we don't even know for sure that Majors is gone. But I would not put money on them doing this, although they should.
There you go. DCV Titan says Dave Filoni took Kevin Smith's classes on shilling. Yeah. C-Man says with a large number of layoffs still pending, does any of what they announced at Celebration matter? Feels like the axe is over Lucasfilm. Well, we debated on what was gonna,
Well, just stay tuned to the next video. That's all I'm going to say about this. Stay tuned to the next video.
Killybite says, hello, panel. Also, Kevin Hart for Kang. Oh, that'd be interesting.
How would you?
Paulus Plain
I
says,
watched
Script
that.
Doctor and Paul, please send us a picture of Canadian poutine.
Okay. Wow.
You know what? I might make some tomorrow because I'll be near a grocery store that has what I need to make it. So maybe.
And yes, and the gravy the main ingredient has to be what? Script?
Well, cheese and gravy and French
Well,
fries.
what's the gravy has to be made from?
Oh,
has to.
well,
Chicken fat.
yeah, chicken fat. Yeah, not
That's
beef
it.
gravy. Yeah.
No, that's got to be made with chicken fat. It's the mistake people make.
I have to try this poutine stuff one of these days.
Oh,
I keep
it's
hearing about
so good. And with shaved Montreal smoked meat. Oh,
Oh yeah.
oh.
It's probably dangerous for me. Wartooth 88 says, get Blade actor.
Very
Blake
dangerous.
King. He ain't doing much. Oh, Marash Ali. Well, he's supposed to be playing a Blade here sooner than later. I Cthulhu says Trump as Tang. It'll be huge. If Dean had any guts, they dropped the Kang plot and start a new plot with Doom. Yep.
The Trump is Tang. Yeah.
I'm gonna take over the whole MCU.
And it'll be glorious.
Glorious.
It'll be the best MCU ever.
You see that tower over there? It'd look better with Trump on it. Mega J says, what's happening to Bud Light is why the phrase go woke, go broke exists, because continues to be, or go woke, go broke is, it continues to be relevant. Yes. I know what you're saying.
Although Anheuser is not going to go broke.
Oh, not likely. Pinochet's
no,
helicopter.
but they're going to lose a few billions, just like
yeah,
Select.
they're already sounding like they're not doing too well on that end. Paul, how do you know it was never made to go public? Another ESG company jumping on the virtue signaling bandwagon, stop gaslighting corporate evil. I'm not sure which party he's referring to.
We're talking about the
Mulvaney beer cans.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that I've just what I read, and I believe everything I read. Everything is true.
Really?
Oh yeah. The only truth actually is here on Midnight's Edge.
STR Red Wolf says, why is there even a controversy over Budweiser? It's a soda of a beer. More intelligent folks would be drinking from their local brew scene. Shout out to Crooked Crab Brewing in Odenton, Maryland. Yeah, well, that's the thing. And that's why they're already hurting to begin with, right? Is they're losing out to a lot of these local breweries.
Oh, yeah.
And instead
And beer
of going-
consumption is going down all across the board.
Yeah, and I think they just went the complete opposite direction they should have went with this, though.
Well, listen, there's benefits to that. For starters, less drunk driving incidents. I mean, that's actually on record. They've also
yes
dropped.
and no. Like the other problem though is a lot of the craft beers are even stronger than any of that fucking horse piss like Bud Light.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that
Oh.
overall alcohol consumption has gone down in the past generation, and
Not
we've
in
seen some of the
Wisconsin.
benefits. Oh. I understand Wisconsin. I mean, what else is there to do other than go to Packers games, eat cheese, and drink beer?
Drink beer, exactly, yes, and make babies. It's about all we do around here.
Well, that's a byproduct of drinking too much beer.
Yes, exactly, because just about everything looks good after that. Jerry Gord says Old Spice got and a guy crying not the right market. Yeah. Oh, Old Spice is another one, didn't they? Yeah. Mr. Esquire's been a member for a month. Thank you so much. Mark7117B says Dip is TikTok famous. Means nothing to us, but means a lot to marketers. That's why it feels like they come out of nowhere online influence bubble. Well, this is true too. I'm sure this is why they got involved with him. Yeah. Mr. Esquire says Bud made the mistake of making this a national campaign. They want to reach out to the trans community, sponsor local LGBTQ events, build goodwill that way. Unfortunately, the execs wanted to pat themselves on the back. Yeah. See, this is something I don't think most people would have a problem with. Like if you do a special select thing for an event or something like that, that's fine. But to try and push it onto your entire audience is a big mistake. Kind of going back to the whole Captain Marvel thing. Clearly, yeah. If Disney had budgeted the Marvels for the market that it's making it for, it wouldn't have a problem. But the problem is they budgeted so they got to get everybody involved, and I don't think that's going to work out because I'm sure the budget's between $2 and $250 million.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna work well. And Mr. Esquire, thank you for the $20. That goes a long way towards keeping the lights on, so that is much appreciated.
And then Wift says, in the Marvels trailer, in the first scene, Monica Rambeau teleports. Shouldn't her spacesuit be teleported too? You would think.
Well, I mean, her rest of her clothes were. I mean,
yeah.
Again, if they're really going to go authentic with the teleporting, it'd be like Kyle Reese in the Terminator. He'd be naked everywhere he goes, every time he teleports, and they can't do that because they've got a minor as one of the characters.
And not only that, why is Captain Marvel the only one who can breathe in space?
Well, Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau technically can't because Monica Rambeau can turn
why
into
is she
energy.
in a fucking spacesuit?
Because when she transports to Kamala Khan would have died. They don't want to kill off the character, so they have to ride around.
So they created a problem there. Yeah, see,
there's
that's
lots
my
of problems
point.
they've created with this.
Yeah, see, they didn't think this shit through.
They're thinking it through on our behalf.
They're reverse engineering the shit they didn't have to do in the first place.
Hey, and speaking of minors, that's one of the reasons why your American beer tastes like water is because Anheuser-Busch, to compete with the other breweries, got rid of hops and replaced it with rice, which made for a much milder beer that they could sell for 5 cents a glass. And that got really popular with the minors.
Yep. And also the people that are celiac and alcoholics.
I have never tasted any of this beer, and I'm probably better off.
Oh, it's terrible beer.
Yeah, no, I like my beer.
Considering your
yeah.
country of origin, Andre, you would probably spit it out and say, "What the fuck is this horse piss? Don't ever put that in front of me again."
Probably,
and probably take it as an insult. Like I could see that. Master Clockwork says listening to Kamala Khan fangirl is exhausting. The weird thing is of all the actresses, the younger actress playing Kamala Khan is probably the best of the bunch, if you ask me, and she's not even the professional actress to begin with. So
no, this is technically her second acting gig.
Yeah, I thought she was the best part of the trailer easily.
She's got the most charisma, if you ask me.
You're
Paul,
muted.
you're muted.
You're muted, Paul, for some weird reason. I think it's on your
You're still
mic
muted.
or something. Yeah.
That's weird.
No,
There
now
you
you're
go.
back again.
Now
Now
I'm
you're
back.
back.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
my system muted me automatically.
We were getting a lot of echoes, so maybe it did it on
Maybe.
because
I think Kamala had this really fun girl energy. I liked it. I'm sorry.
No, I got, like I said, it's not made for me.
No,
Right? Like,
correct.
That's the thing. So I'm not going to sit here and try and judge it too much.
And if it's perfectly clearly laser focused, not made for you, then I think it has the possibility of being successful within its Freaky Friday age group.
Well, that's where I was arguing that it wasn't budgeted for that, Paul. That's the problem. Because at best, this is a $300-400 million
Bud
movie
Ice.
at the box office, and it's gonna,
Beware
Midnight's
the
Eye
penguins.
says, Bud Ice, beware the penguins. Doobie doobie doo.
Actually, one of the funniest things we thought of in Canada when Bud Light actually made Bud Light, because we thought, isn't Bud Light? Look how much lighter can it be?
Yeah. Double Back Again says, jellyfish on Bree's head make me laugh, but only because I was thinking dirty. Well.
Oh, that was the scene with the Indian.
Yeah.
And she made a pretty good face in that. I think she's a good comic actress. We'll see.
I guess you can be with the right script and direction.
Yeah.
Marksman 117B says, Paul, Chris had the same take months ago, 100% right. This isn't even that old, so it must be pretty close to something you said not too long ago. Shadow Dancer the Red Mage says, in the Marvels, the female accuser has the matching bangle to Miss Marvel's.
Mm-hmm.
As a 50s white dude, I am looking forward to this movie. Stick it, Brie. All right.
Cool.
Yeah, if you look forward to it, go for it.
Hardcore Curtsy says, you know what real representation looks like? The last Ted Lasso episode showing Keely needing and given a tampon. Okay. No big deal, just a plot point. There you go.
I haven't seen the latest one yet.
I haven't even watched the show, but I'm going to try and get into it now that I have Apple. But Snail Messiah has also been a member for 23 months. And with that, we are caught up on the Super Chats and member chats. And we can get into the Max news. I almost said HBO Max again. But we have news of some new spinoffs. First, we've got a Big Bang Theory spinoff that has no news whatsoever about it. Just it's a Big Bang Theory spinoff. Yeah. So get excited.
Wow.
You can't blame them for it because the Big Bang Theory, that was the biggest show they had for a great many years. Yeah. And I do believe that Young Sheldon is also the biggest sitcom on TV right now. So you can't blame them for wanting to keep that going.
Yeah, and then we also got an announcement for another Game of Thrones show. No surprise there, but this is not one of the ones we've heard about before.
What do we know about this one?
Let me see here. What do we got here? Six shared it with me in the background. A new prequel series in Game of Thrones universe titled A Knight of Seven Kingdoms, The Hedge Knight, is in the works for the new Max streaming service. So there you go. Prequel series.
Warner Brothers just deleted their tweet announcing the Max name because I retweeted them and it's deleted.
Well, it's still on everything. Who knows?
Maybe they took a look at the feedback and changed their mind.
Well, my feedback was I gave them a bunch of options like Warner Brothers Online, Warner Brothers Streaming, Warner Brothers Centennial, HBO Online, HBO Plus, WB Max, all more recognizable than Max.
Max, yeah.
And then for shame, you're on your advertising department, shame. And then they deleted the tweet.
Link that. I want to like it. I want to like it.
It's on my Twitter. So yeah, I'll link it for you.
Yeah, and then we also got, I think that's, let's see here. What else did we get? She sent me a few here. The Penguin teaser. It says now in production. I'm not going to show
that should be just about done filming by now.
Yeah, it's just showing a bunch of behind the scenes footage and stuff.
Oh, the Penguin stuff? They're not almost done. They should be done in like 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah, it says in production now. Okay, so
and
that
it looks like basically the highlights of The Sopranos without any of the depth.
Here's one that I can't believe they haven't done sooner. Like this should have been one of the things they got going when HBO Max was even in its infancy. Finally, they're getting a Conjuring TV series in development. That is the first thing they've ever fucking done.
Yeah. Yes, this needed to have been done a long time ago. because The Conjuring, really, outside of Marvel, is the only truly successful cinematic universe. They never announced they were doing a cinematic universe. Just so, like suddenly, the rest of the world one day caught up and like, oh, hey, there's a cinematic universe. And this is something that kind of like begs for a high-end TV series where you can like explore some series, some like of their what do you want to call
Potential
it? Some of their
is
like past adventures
exactly. There are other
in a
cases,
serialized format. Like think
and the
American
beauty of
Horror
that is
Story.
your more successful ones that you have, you can spin off into fucking movies, Andre. That's the beauty
Yes.
of it. So you can
Exactly.
try a nun, you can try Annabelle in these series, something that you may not have had so much confidence in at first. And if people, respond to it, then you can do the spin-off movie or the prequel movie or whatever. Yeah, we don't talk about this franchise enough, and Andre is one of the few people who does bring it up. And often when we do get into it, it's because they're overlooked. They are one of the most successful franchises right now outside of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Absolutely.
They're what, like 11 movies deep now or something like that?
I don't think it's that many. It's like
It's
6
quite a few.
movies
You've
or
got like
something.
what, the 3 Conjuring movies, 3 Annabelle movies.
Yes, that's 6, and then you
Nun,
have the Nun, and then you have like the La Llorona. So
that's 10.
7.
No, you got count because there's 3 Conjuring movies, isn't there? Or is there only 2?
Yeah, there's 3 Conjuring.
There's 3 Annabelles.
3 Annabelle. Now we're up to 6.
6.
The
That's what I'm
Nun,
saying.
That's 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
La Llorona. That's now up to 8.
Yeah.
And which other am I missing?
I don't know, but I know there's at least close to 10 or 11. Yeah.
No, I'm only counting 8.
Well, there will be before we know it, because they got another one coming.
That is true. There will be, and there should have been.
Wasn't there a sequel to The Nun too already?
No, that's not out yet. It's coming.
Okay, that's the one that's coming then. Okay.
Yeah, that's coming.
And I'm sure there'll be another Annabelle.
There should be, because they make a fortune, and they cost very little to produce. I'm surprised.
And that's
they
the
haven't
thing
made more
is,
of them.
if you want to cheapen the cost of actors, this is true too. You can recast the actors as younger versions or something like that. And
You already did that. You mean you have like the sister of the lead actress already played like a younger version?
See, I don't
of
know.
herself.
I didn't watch the shit. I'm sorry. I saw Annabelle, and that's about it.
I forgot her name right now, but like the lead actress, Farmiga, like Vera Farmiga is her name. Taisa Farmiga has already played a younger version of her younger sister. There you have like the instant recasting, which echoes what they did on Sheldon, where it's the daughter of the actress who played Sheldon's mother in The Big Bang Theory, who plays Sheldon's mother in the Sheldon series.
That's Laurie Metcalf's daughter?
Yes.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yep.
I didn't even pay attention. I watched
The
one
one that
episode of
was,
Sheldon and checked out. Yeah.
The one that was kind of featured in the Roseanne show when Laurie Metcalf was pregnant, like that same daughter, or an older one.
The real one.
The real. Oh, I mean, Laurie Metcalf was legitimately pregnant when she was doing Roseanne. So
No.
It would have to be for the age wise.
Well, it's her sister, younger sister, isn't it?
Is it there's I think
sister would make more sense.
I think it's her younger sister.
Well, either way, it's a family relation.
It's a Metcalf. It is a Metcalf.
Okay, I did not know that, but I checked out
whether they're
early.
sister, mother, or daughter. There's a family relation there.
And we've got one more update on the Harry Potter front. Looks like they have officially announced that they are doing a complete reboot with an entirely new cast. So there you go, kids. And I've been hearing some crazy rumors going on what led up to this. I wasn't too far off on the whole like fighting behind the scenes with the original cast. So yeah.
So who is ready for a full-on Harry Potter?
So that means they completely have sided with obviously the creator, which they had to anyway. So it's like a no.
Oh, I think it's a brilliant idea, and the timing is good.
Yeah, and then we've got the officially new announced logo.
Pardon me, what?
I guess.
You have to start it over completely. You mean like
No. They're going to take it someplace. I mean, could you explore stories that happened at Hogwarts while Harry was doing his stuff in kind of a parallel? You know, Harry is off. Oh, look at that. He's fighting a dragon. And then they're having their own You know, school problems. There's 1,000 kids in the school. Everyone can have a story.
You totally do that.
You know, that's in some ways that would be more fun. But again, it's such a rich.
They're also introducing a new price tier.
Canon.
They have Max Ad Lite for $9.99 a month. Max Ad Freeze, which is the standard $15.99 a month, and you can get 2 concurrent streams on those packages. And then Max Ultimate Ad Free, which you get 4 concurrent stream packages. So there you go. And the one that was driving me insane and made me damn near lose my shit is something I've been waiting almost 3 fucking years for.
And it is
Secrets of the Moguai. And they fucked it up. I sent a tweet to Joe Dante almost 2 fucking years ago when I initially heard about this shit. I said, remember, in the movie, Gizmo isn't Gizmo until Rand Pelser gives him that name. They fucked that up. The Gremlins look like shit. And now they're making it all about this magical fucking world that Gizmo comes from. I'm out. Fuck this shit. It's like they had nobody involved who knows anything about Gremlins. Period. I'm sorry that I'm the only one who gives a shit, but Gremlins is one of my biggest fucking jams, and now I'm pissed because I've been waiting and 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 waiting for something new on Gremlins. Been promised a Gremlins 3 for years, promised I don't know how many animated fucking shows over the years, and this is what I get.
We have to have our priorities.
Are you happy with what you got at the end of your long wait? Now you're
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
It's not that hard to do. A prequel series with Gizmo makes complete sense, and you fucked it all up. All you needed was get Script and I in that fucking writer's room, and we'd have fixed this in 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Heck, it didn't even have to be Gizmo. It could just be another Moguai.
Well, I don't mind that it's Gizmo, because that's the whole thing. It's about when young Wang, the old guy we meet in Gremlins, first got Gizmo, right?
But the thing is, again, you were right. It's the dad that names him Gizmo. He doesn't have a name when he's introduced. So if we're going to do a prequel, we either make a new character that has its own name,
or we find out what his original name was,
or find out what his original name was. Yeah,
Grogu.
Or you do it really simple. Or you do it really simple. You have those people there. Just call him Moguai the same way that you would call a cat Kitty, right?
Yeah.
Problem solved. Because you saw, like, even in the movie, he keeps on saying Moguai, because that's obviously what he's called and been referred to. So, I mean, that's his name.
And that's what Wang refers to him as all the time. He says, with Moguai comes great responsibility. You know, he's always just referring to him as Moguai. I mean, he talks to him in their little language, which, whatever, but, like, and that's the thing. They actually have Gizmo basically talking to them in this. Like, he tells them his name is Gizmo.
That doesn't make sense.
I know!
That's idiotic.
If you had hair, you'd be pulling it out right now, Tom.
Exactly. And I mean, I might just be the world's biggest Gremlins fan. I get that. But still.
So basically, this does not have the approval of the biggest Gremlins fan in the world.
I may not be, but I fucking goddamn close. I'll tell you that right now. I know my blood pressure. I need to breathe. These fuckers are going to give me a heart attack today. Oh, and other good news, the Tiny Toons are coming back. Yay.
Oh, what, like the Animaniacs kind of
did? Yeah.
Are they also going to have, like, this Spider-Verse animation style?
The poster looks like the old school style, so that's all I know. The poster they put out, that's all I know. And what's funny is they announced the original Gremlins animated series with Tiny Toons back in the day, but Gremlins never got made because the movie tanked. Gremlins 2 did. I'm just fucking pissed. Sorry, guys. This ruined my morning. Because I've been looking forward to this for a while. I'm like, maybe, just maybe, now that Joe Dante's involved, there's a glimmer of hope for this fucking series. Where the hell was he on this? He should have known this.
I'll tell you exactly where he was. He was back in his mansion collecting his paycheck and doing something else.
First it's Ninja Turtles and He-Man, now it's this shit. Fucking Christ.
Yeah, so that's where he was. He was collecting.
What's next? Transsexual Jaws or something? I mean, what?
Oh no, it's gonna be something with either Cabbage Patch Kids or Garbage Pail Kids. They're gonna mess around with.
Oh, Garbage Pail Kids I like, but not Cabbage Patch Kids.
And both of those can be done like non-gender fluid or something like that. So yeah.
Just they should have just left it the fuck alone.
Next? Like,
well, they tried that already. They've already destroyed Critters with 2 separate proper tries to reboot and whatever. They fucked that up too.
What about Attack of the Killer Tomatoes? They can bring that back and
please, at least something that could
have George Clooney like reprise his role from one of those.
Isn't what's his face still alive? Sean Astin's dad, or no? Is he passed on? John Astin. We just lost him, didn't we? Damn, because he was in the original 2 or the original 3 sequels. I think it was. John Astin was. Fuck! This pisses me off, guys. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to waste 10 minutes on that,
but moving on, has there been announced anything else other than what so far?
Other than the Harry Potter thing, no, that was the last thing that Six shared with me. So I think we're up to speed now on the HBO Max thus far. I think they're still going. If not, they're going to be done soon because it started at I think an hour and a half ago almost. So. They're heavy on Hogwarts shit and Game of Thrones on their page, though. And they ain't changed the HBO Max logo on the main Twitter yet. So
I'll give them time.
I guess if you guys want to see the Tiny Toons Luniversity poster, here you go. Since it's not a trailer, it's a poster. See, they look the same. So they're coming out of a VCR TV, old CRT TV. So
that looks pretty decent.
Yeah, well, the Animaniacs sucked though. So
yeah, I'm not saying the show was going to be any good. Just like that image looked decent.
Rick and Morty, the anime, was just announced as well 41 minutes ago.
Why?
I don't know.
Well, does that mean that Marvel fired some of the writers? They're back in that again? If so, that would be good news. But I don't think we're that lucky.
I'm sure this is like a. Yeah,
that's got to be a joke.
I hope it's a joke.
That's a joke.
It's probably a movie.
How do you turn Rick and Morty into an anime?
They go into an anime universe through the portal gun,
or something. Yeah,
something like that. They got to take these injections to disguise themselves as anime characters, so they can grab some sort of thing MacGuffin in the anime.
And then they have to reduce the animation quality even further.
Yep.
So just their mouths move.
Like maybe they'll even do a Cal Arts joke in there or something.
Other than just crap we don't really care about, probably.
Robert
Downey Jr. is helping the environment.
There you go.
There we go. So yeah, that looks about the size of it. There we go. The penguin being one of the first things they did. We also had the John Wick show news today too. I didn't get to watch that trailer yet. The Continental.
Yeah.
And then they have another movie featuring Ara Demaramanimare.
Oh, the ballet ballerina.
Oh, the ballerina, yeah.
Ballerina.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get through these super chats. And was there anything else, Andre, we had to cover?
Nope.
I know Paul has to leave us. So.
I gotta go.
Yeah.
Paul, you can head on out. Tell the kids what you got going on.
Nothing much. I'm just hanging on to my most recent video, which was the sad review of Lizzie McGuire in space. I got some other stuff I'm working on that's going to be a lot of fun, and what can I say? And other than that, I go slumming with you guys.
And we love having you here slumming with us. And we also look forward to celebrating your 100K celebration. Maybe we'll do that Friday, if not on Friday.
I don't know. It's kind of up and down and slowed down, but it's ticking up again. It's you have to stop caring. It's like watching water boil.
Yeah.
You gotta,
Yeah.
you just can't
Right.
can't do it. And I need to script doctor. I've got one more video to go through, and I'll have watched all of them.
Cool. That's awesome.
So
That's going to be fun when we do
it
that.
will be fun. Yes, script.
And then you have to check out Taxidermia. I look forward to your thoughts on
I've
that.
got it. I need to watch it. Yes, I'm half scared, Andre. I watched.
You
I
should
watched a part of it, and I went, "Wow, this is like the Centipede Man movie. This is."
No, you have to see the great Hungarian masterpiece. So
yeah, I got it.
wait
You
to
sent it
discuss
to me.
with you.
The cinematography in it is spectacular. I mean, the guy is a genius.
Oh yeah, for
He's
sure.
definitely a genius. Yeah, I got to watch that. I'm got one more show left for watching Cleo, the German thing, which I've been hyping up, and I might do a review of that. And I want to do a review of Sandbaggers episode 1, why it's one of the perfect opening shows of all time. I got lots of things on the go, and then all this stupid stuff that needs to be reviewed, interrupts my time.
Yeah, I know. Reviewing takes time.
Anyways, thank you very much, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and we'll see you maybe Friday.
Cool.
I'll see. Okay, bye.
Bye,
Thanks for having me.
All right, and then moving on with the super chats. Tom, where were we?
Well, we just had a slew of new ones here. One with Paulus Plain, who says the armed forces of Ukraine, the Punisher. Oh, we got this one already.
This is a new one.
That's a newer one.
A new one.
Same topic, but newer.
Yeah, but he added Google image search it. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. So thank you, Paulus.
Yeah, we don't do a lot of Google searches live. You never know what's going to pop up sometimes.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, that's a high risk.
Yeah, WYFT says, I stole it, then I stole it, then I stole it. It's called capitalism. I call it DOA movie Rip Indiana Jones. Yeah, that scene in the fucking trailer. Did you see somebody recut it with actual John Williams music? It didn't really help, though.
Oh, of course not.
Not really. Mika J says, can't wait for the activists to lose their minds over the HP reboot with Rowling involved. Yeah, and nobody will notice at the end of the day, just like with Hogwarts. And I think that's one of the main reasons they have zero fear with this. I tell you, though, like, I'm starting to lose my faith in Warner after today. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing over there?
They should have done a Hogwarts Legacy series. I hope that this Harry Potter reboot will be Hogwarts Legacy. Because that's what it should have been.
I mean, even if
they had any brains, they would do that.
Right now, I don't know what the fuck's going on over there. I really don't. I wish I did. Anyway, Max Light. Wait, I thought we were past the beer chat, said STR Red Wolf. Yeah, I know, right? I was thinking of making a joke with that. Charlie says Clifton Duncan for Kang. He'd kill it.
He totally would. Yeah. He absolutely would.
Actually, he'd be a really good replacement for Black Panther.
That too.
He's got the physique already, so.
Dale says, why are you dumb enough to want a Gremlins 3, Tom? Gremlins is one of my top 3 favorite movies. I've seen it 50 times at least. I don't want them touching the franchise. Well, here's the reason. Gremlins 2 is also one of the greatest sequels of all time. That's why. And with Joe Dante, what he used to be, I think he lost whatever it was now, or he's just signed up for this for a paycheck because, yeah, I was looking forward to whatever he was going to cook up for Gremlins 3. And I'm glad you've seen it 50 times and it's your top 3. It's probably within their mind too. And I seen it. There was one point where I'd watched that movie so many times, my dad yelled at me.
And thank you for the $10, Dale. That is much appreciated. And just to round out that discussion, Tom may have wanted more Gremlins. You didn't, but either way, you both lose. So, yeah.
I know, right? Blue Tiger says they'll change the name of the shark to Caitlin's. Well, Caitlin's actually one of the few who hasn't lost their fucking minds, it seems like. Camelbot Killer says, gonna see Mario tonight. I want a Duck Hunt movie. How could you make a Duck Hunt movie, though? I don't know. That one, I don't know.
You're the dog trying to find the ducks that are being slaughtered in front of you.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Well, actually, that would be easy. That would be easy. I mean, you just to come up with a brand new story that's really cool and engaging. You set it against the backdrop of a duck hunt. Problem solved.
We've already got that. It's called Looney Tunes. Nikki Vick says I recall an article when Tiny Toons was announced claimed that the band the Buster are now siblings.
Babs.
Or Babs and Buster are now siblings, thus nixing the no relation joke.
They were dating in the original cartoon.
They were never. What the fuck?
I mean, there's even a joke where they do the Noah's Ark, and Babs and Buster go on the Ark, and they say their names, and then Noah's like, "Oh, thank God, this is a children's show," because they don't want them to be related,
Buster is Bugs Bunny's nephew,
or something of that nature. Yeah,
that's it. Babs has no relation to Bugs Bunny. She's just a bunny.
And Babs has the most siblings, and Buster doesn't have any, I think.
Yes, I think you're right. It's just they'll fuck it up. Jesus Davila has been a member for 17 months. Thank you so much. Titan Comics announced that Conan #1 drops July 27th, says Hyperguyver. Yeah, I saw some of Frederick's tweets. Did you, Andre?
Yeah, I saw. Looking good. Do love that artwork.
JWT 6577 says Duck Hunt. Didn't they already do a Dick Cheney biopic? Oh, yeah, right. There's your
There you
movie.
go. You do some inspiration from that. There's your Duck Hunt.
And then Six sent us a good summation of events. Let me quickly run through this to make sure there wasn't anything we missed of note. Oh boy, this is like a whole breakdown. Okay, never mind. I'm going to save this for later. We'll save this for meat or something, because yeah, this goes on a ways. All right, so with that, we are caught up on everything. It looks like, except for
there's
Dale.
one more. Yep.
Says I saw Gremlins 2 in theaters as a kid. Still one of the best theater experiences I've ever had. Gremlins 2 is as good as the first. I agree. And he that is a case of subversion of expectations in the right way.
What's demoralized about Gremlins 2?
Well, that's true.
Because then that's not a subversion. That's a surprise.
I know. You know what I
Entertainment.
meant. I meant it to be punny in the.
It shouldn't be. We shouldn't be letting the people trying to change definition of words win.
Why you got to ruin my joke? Last Millennial says debate question: which would you choose and guaranteed to happen? A Star Wars movie that is better than Empire, or DC finally making good movies? Oh, DC making good
DC.
movies. That'll happen first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you're picking the best of the Star Wars films. That's kind of hard to do. To outdo. So yeah. But all right, kids. With that, let's get out of here. We would like to thank you all for joining us. Script, anything to plug on your way out the door?
Other than this morning, I dropped a Patreon article about how writers can improve their villains. So feel free to check that out. And I'm working on another project, one with Mr. Paul Chato and another guest. And when that's all sorted out, that will drop on my channel. And follow me on Twitter to find out when that will be.
All right. We got one more super chat from Matthias Fredrickson. You're gonna have to do this one, Andre.
Yeah, certainly. And Mathias says, Skript er en fin fyr. Anbefaler at han ser Flåklypa. Which translates, Matthias again, he writes Norwegian, even though he sends currency in Swedish, but this is Norwegian he's writing here. And he says that Script, he's a decent chap. He's an alright guy. And he recommends that you see Flåklypa. You see the Pinchville Grand Prix. Yeah, we'll sort out some watch party so Script can watch that.
Ooh,
love to hear his input on it. That's one of the most classic Norwegian movies ever made. It's animated.
I'm down. I'm down for that.
Yeah.
All right. And us, we've got a video hopefully on the way. We've got 4K for you later, where James Etok is going to be joining us to talk about, hopefully as much as we can cram into the show, of his DVD making experience on stuff like Ghostbusters, The Real Ghostbusters, Masters of the Universe, all that kind of stuff. He even sent me a buttload of images to show, so that should be a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys can join us then to talk about all his experiences in making special edition DVD sets and stuff. So Andre, anything else we need to plug?
No, just stay tuned for more videos. We will be having a Star Wars video drop tomorrow, and possibly another one the day after that, because we're not working on just one, but two.
All righty. So we'll see you then, kids. Thank you for being here, and take care of yourselves and each other.
And with that, it is time for some koalas in the rain.
As a reminder, I've been here when it was glory hole days, and I've been here when it wasn't. And so, having said that, I want me some glory hole.
Sorry, wrong button.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given, koala.
It's probably a good thing I did screw up because, and it was a legitimate screw up because that video is like right above it. Camelbot Killer says Duck Hunt, MCU. It'd be like the Birds meets Rambo on a bad at Black Rock. Survivors of a bird invasion has to shoot their way to safety. Limited ammo.
I'd watch the hell out of that.
That's
And
the
with
only one
that,
I'm not so sure.
You only have 3 shots, exactly.
All right, koalas in the rain, kids.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given, koala. Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given.